Hey y'all! And welcome to the Sorry Not Sorry Generation podcast, where we bring you a not-so-healthy dose of humor and reality as we get our hands dirty with some serious nostalgia and question everything.
Let's dive in.
Hey y'all!
Hey y'all!
It's Misty, and on today's D&D session, I will be playing Jazara Telena, and as well, I will be your DM.
It's Erin, and I am playing Asha Kel.
It's Ani, and I am playing Valkyria Nykor, the pest.
The pest is her official title. Outside of D&D.
Fair point.
I am a devil.
All right. I'm going to do a little recap for everyone, because it's been a hot minute since we sat at the table. So, on our last session, our party found their way out of the Underdark and into the bright new world of the surface of Exandria, where they walked through snow, much to Valkyria's distaste. She got very cold, and while walking around, they encountered some critters, most of which left them all alone. And of course, when they went to sleep for the night, they encountered the party encountered a critter they could not identify that hissed at them multiple times, and then decided it wanted to take a nap on top of Valkyria, which it did for the rest of the night. And despite both Asha and Jazara's best efforts, they could not wake her. So when she woke up in the morning, she had a mysterious critter sleeping directly on her face, and well, actually, it was on her chest, but it decided to poke her in the face after it was woken up, and then proceeded to make a very dramatic but prompt exit afterwards. After that, the party managed to wander themselves into a graveyard and party crash a funeral. So that was fun, where they discovered the mayor, or founder, I guess, of a very small town known as Palebank Village. There, they encountered Elro, who told them that the funeral they crashed was for his former friend Ergon, who had caught a strange disease that was slowly freezing him solid and eventually killed him. Elro asked for their help when he mentioned the fact that others in the village he believed were infected as well. The party went and investigated Ergon's cabin, which then led them to a rather I was going to say mischievous, but more just like a piece of shit person known as Telgi, who then proceeded to tell them about how she stole some of the artifacts that Ergon had recently found out in the crash of Aor on one of the islands of Iselcross. And at some point, one of those items infected her with the disease that had killed Ergon and was slowly freezing her as well, after being extremely uncooperative and very abrasive. The party, despite trying to heal her, could not, and eventually they had to take their leave, looking for investigations in other areas. And currently, the party is on their way to Pelk's Curiosities, where the items from Ergon were originally stolen. You are accompanied by Elro and the very young, recently promoted ranger known as Mila. And the five of you are on your way to Pelk's Curiosities, as Ergon has the ability to let you in there because the current owner of the store, Verla Pelk, has not been seen for a while, especially since the break-in in her store a couple of months ago. And that's where we are now.
All right. So, where do we go from here, boss?
Well, you guys are on your way to Pelk's Curiosities, and if you have anything you want to do while you're walking to Pelk's, now would be a good time to ask it of either Elro, Mila, or anybody else.
Is there anything on the way between where we are right now and
Pelk's Curiosity is located in the town, so like you'll walk through the town. But unless there's somewhere specific you wanted to stop, there's not much in the way of stores. You're going to one of the only stores in the whole village.
Okay.
And but Elro is leading you there, and as you go, you can ask him any questions or anything like that. In fact, Jazara will ask she'll talk to Elro. Elro, when was the last time anybody saw... I'm sorry, we didn't catch the owner's name. What was her name? Oh, her name is Verla Pelk. She's been in the town her whole life. She came from Uthadurn along with most of the other people in the village. And Jazara's going to look at her and say, Uthadurn? Sorry, not from the surface. I forget that often, that you guys aren't from the surface. Uthadurn. And he turns and he points east to the mountains past where you guys came out from, you came out from the Underdark. He says, the other side of those mountains is the city of Uthadurn, and that's a dwarf and elven settlement there. It's quite a large city. I don't currently recommend travel there, as they are currently at war with some giants who are also occupying parts of the mountain, and you will have to get through frost giant forces to get to Uthadurn. But Palebank, along with many of the dwarven settlements here in the Crystalland Tundra and in Islecross, are all part of Uthadurn by technicality. And we answer to Uthadurn's authority. But Jazar says, "Okay, and that's and how far is Uthadurn from here then?" I would say if you would have to travel through the mountains, over them, and then through them, and Uthadurn is not easily found by somebody who's never been there, as the elves who settled there a few hundred years ago found out. But it would take you a couple of weeks just to traverse the mountains. Normally the distance wouldn't take quite that long, but the mountains are the harshest in all of Exandria to cross. Jazara nods, and you guys...
appetizing.
Yeah, they're extremely tall, like frozen peaks, basically, because the entire area you're in is like a tundra, basically, and these are some extraordinarily tall mountains. And in the past, people who've tried to travel there, not knowing where they're going, many don't make it there. And Mila will pipe up, and she's like, "Well, I've never been there technically, because I am from the village here, but my parents are from there, and they talk about it a lot, and they promised me that once I earned myself some coin as a glass blade, and she kind of like straightens her little uniform and everything, we can make the trip there, because we have family there that I've never met, so that would be really nice one day." And Elro just kind of like pats her on the shoulder, because she's young, and that's a sweet sentiment.
That's naive.
Yeah, a sweet but young and naive sentiment, but she's young and those are her goals. So you guys make your way over. Yeah, so you guys make your way over to Pelk's. Is there anything you wanted to ask or do before you get to Pelk's?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Can't think of anything. Like, we have all the items in stock.
Yeah. All right, so you guys are wandering through the village. There's a lot of people out. It's about probably at this point it's probably about 2 or 3 in the afternoon. It's still kind of early afternoon, and like people are milling about. Some people are doing a little bit of shopping from some like individual stalls that are around, and a lot of people stop and like say hi to Elro, and like kind of look at you guys kind of funny, because obviously this is a very small town and they've never seen you guys before, and like you can see some people gossiping and like looking at you as you walk by, because oh my god, people there's like new people here, and you can tell that's a big deal. But eventually you make your way down to a little like dark cabin, and above the door it has a sign that says Pelk's Curiosities, and the P is in the shape of like a curved dragon, is part of the word Pelk. And as you get closer to the door, like Elro starts to step forward, both of you and Jazara will roll a perception check, please.
23.
23? Damn.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Jazara got a 16.
I got a lovely 1.
Already?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first roll of the... God damn, you need new dice. New dice.
No, you know what? I'm gonna
Christmas.
embrace this. I'm gonna embrace the low rolls because this is gonna make some interesting stories.
Yeah.
Sure. I guess I when you reach level 5, you can do this thing called take a feat, which like, gets you like a new fancy ability, and one of them is called the lucky feat. And 3 times a day before you take a long rest, you get to re-roll 1 dice. It's not a bad thing for you. So
Really, it's not. I picked the right character.
Oh, holy shit. So, yeah, okay. So, Asha just blew everybody out of the water anyway. But as you guys are approaching the door, Asha, you notice that the door is slightly ajar already.
Mhm.
And so does Jazara, and Elro's starting to approach the door, but like both of you notice that it's slightly ajar already, which is suspicious for a store that's supposed to be closed. And the outside of the building is like this dark brick, and it has the windows are very small, and like any paint that's on it is like this very worn red color. But as Elro starts to approach the door, like Jazara reaches out and grabs him, and then she puts her finger to her lips, and as you listen, you can hear voices from inside.
Shh. Do you hear that? Everybody stop.
And Mila and Elro both stop, and Jazara is going to stealthily try to creep forward a little to see if she can hear what's going on. Did anybody else want to as well?
Out of the way. I will get out of the way.
Jazara got
I should get out of the way.
Jazara got a 24, so she's gonna go up on the other, like onto the left side of the door, away from like where the crack is pointing.
Okay.
And she's gonna listen. And as she listens in, she can hear she can hear people arguing with each other. Where the fuck is it? How the hell should I know? Look, she sent us here to find something that will help. Find something that will help, or it's going to be all of our heads. And unless you would like to be dragon food, I'm not particularly interested in dying today. You can, but I'm not. And if we don't find anything, I'm getting the fuck out of here while we can. If they find you because you left, especially without permission from the family, you're gonna be lucky if all they do is feed you to a fucking dragon. And then you hear some crashing noises as things collapse. And Jazara is going to put her finger to her lips, and so everybody so all of you know to be quiet. And as she's listening, she can hear probably about 4 distinct voices coming from the other side. So she puts up 4 fingers, and she points inside. Anything you'd like to do or say?
No.
Definitely start thinking I'm going to draw some kind of weapon.
Okay. If you guys, you can infer from what you're hearing that somebody's trashing the store, basically.
Yeah.
And Elro, you see, like he's listening to, he takes out 2 hand axes because he is a former fighter, and his way around combat. So he takes out 2 of these hand axes that he has, and they're probably about like a foot long each. And then Mila, she has a bow and she draws an arrow, and so does Jazara for that matter.
I've got my dagger.
You got your dagger.
I got my staff.
Okay. And so Jazara's going to put her hand up, and she's going to do a countdown from 3, and then she's going to like make the motion for like busting through the door. Are all of you readying an action to attack somebody?
Yes.
Okay. This is what's known as a surprise round. So if you're getting the jump on somebody, everybody on our team is going to get a round of attacking first before we roll initiative, basically. And then from there, it'll start from the top like we usually encounter fights.
Action. 1 action.
Yeah, so you can cast a spell, you can whack the shit out of somebody with your staff if you want to.
I forgot. Does my staff, can I use it like a conduit to,
For thematic purposes, if you want to say you cast your spells through your staff, like they come out of the staff, that's fine. It doesn't change anything.
Okay, so I can use it as a conduit instead of just, shooting it out of my hands. I can do both.
Yeah, for thematic purposes, if you want to do that, wizard style, you can, say you slam your staff down and, through it, like burst flame or something like that. You could, yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to come from your hands. Like then in the future, if you want to use the same spell and you say like I throw it from my hand, like that's fine. I don't particularly care where it comes from. It won't make a difference.
Now can I use my burning hands through the staff?
If you want to say that you channel the fire of your burning hands through the staff and like it goes out, yeah, it'll do the exact same thing as it does if you were. Yeah,
I want to do that. I want to channel that through the staff, just like as the surprise attack.
You're gonna prepare burning hands. Asha, anything particular you want to prepare, or do you want to wait and see, kind of a thing?
I think. Let's see. I think I'm gonna prepare Sacred Flame.
Sacred Flame. Okay,
yeah,
that's cool.
It's a cantrip. Yeah.
Sure. And like I said, Mila draws an arrow. Elro draws his axes. And you guys get ready to burst through the door, and Jazara approaches like the front of the door, and she counts down from 3 with her fingers, and she goes 3, 2, 1, and she kicks the door open. Not that it was hard because it was already technically open, but thematic purposes. And there are 5 elf bandits that are standing in the store, and as all of you come in, so all of you are in. Jazara will go in first. And did you guys have a preference of who goes in any kind of order?
No.
I'm going to assume Elro kind of like, see, he's old. He's real fucking old. So he's going to stay at the back. He's not stupid. He's going to stay at the back. Mila's going to kind of like stay at the back too because she's also an archer. His
bodyguard?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like his bodyguard. So Jazara will step into the store, and then we'll say, Val,
I'll follow.
Yeah, and then Asha, you can stand like in the doorway if you want, and then
sure.
Mila and Elro will stand like just outside,
okay, and
like behind you. Mila can still like shoot, but Elro won't take any actions until like somebody comes at him.
He has to.
He don't need to be doing
He's
none of
fragile.
that.
Yeah,
he is. So
he may be a warrior, but he doesn't need to be doing that at his age.
Exactly. So with that in mind, Jazara is going to throw out an attack first, and so she's going to fire an arrow. Yeah, for 24 to hit, so she does.
Damn.
Yeah, she good. 6, 7, 8, 9. So she hits for 9 points of damage to the elf directly in front of her, and Asha, or Valkyria, you went through the door next. And you wanted to use Burning Hands?
Burning Hands through my staff. Like, I want to channel it through and just launch it out of there.
Sure. Who are you going for? We got
one guy right in front of me.
Sure.
Right in front of me.
The store itself is just an absolute mess. You can tell that they've, like, trashed the place. There's stuff all over the floor. Things are broken. They've thrown things everywhere. You looking at it, especially as you look along the walls, it looked like it wasn't the most organized place beforehand. Because it does definitely look like if you walk into one of those, like a Goodwill that hasn't been cleaned in a really long time.
Oh.
And like there's just shit everywhere, but now it's all broken shit. And they've clearly have thrown some stuff around. There's one who's rummaging around where the counter area is. There's one against the far wall who's just like pulling things off of shelves. There's somebody who's digging through like a box. And there's another elf who was standing directly in front of some bathtub that's just sitting here, and it just seems to be like throwing discarded stuff into the bathtub. And then there was the one who was standing directly in front of you as you came through the door. So you're gonna cast Burning Hands, which is good. So you're gonna hit. You're gonna have to roll an attack for that one, but you're gonna roll me 3d6 for damage, and you hit everyone in a 15-foot cone. So technically, you're actually going to get the one behind it too. So whatever the damage is, you're hitting too.
You said d6, right?
Yeah, 3d6.
No.
Regular dice.
Yep.
When you roll,
6. 1.
She got 2, 1.
I mean, to be fair, that's enough to take down one of the elves. So you take down that one, and you do 8 points of damage to the other one, and so that's 7. So you do severely damage the one behind it as well as you do that. And one of them just catches fire and starts screaming because they're on fire. And it's just engulfed in flames and just immediately collapses. The other one is actively like trying to put themselves out, and there's just their hair's charred and everything, and they're just like screaming and freaking out.
Who knew
Asha?
elves were so flammable?
I am going.
To be fair, it's not regular fire; it's hell fire. You burn them with the fire of one of the levels of hell, and like.
And hair
set
burns
them.
like a son of a bitch anyway.
That's true.
And they all have very long, beautiful, like finely braided hair, and it just goes
Not
up
anymore.
like a Roman.
I am gonna take that dagger and I am going to throw it at this guy down in the bottom right-hand corner.
The one that was
Because-
already injured?
No, the one by the bookshelf.
By the bookshelf, yeah.
Oh, this one over here?
Yeah.
And I am going to aim for the right side of his chest because we're gonna need to talk to one of these mofo's about what the fuck they're looking for.
Okay, smart.
So the goal is to harm, not kill.
Okay. You can also tell me that you do non-lethal damage. So even if you drop them to 0, they're still alive. So you're aiming specifically for non-vital points.
Yes.
So
Yes,
you're going to go ahead and roll me a d20 and then add 3.
Okay. So total is 19.
19 hits. And go ahead and roll 1d4 plus 1.
4 plus 1, 5.
5. All right. And that elf, as you throw the dagger, and the dagger sinks into like, kind of like the area between like the shoulder and like the chest, and it just sinks in and screams and just looks at you so pissed, just so pissed. And then Mila steps into the doorway beside you, and she's gonna fire off an arrow. She's going to aim at the one over by the register, and she misses, unfortunately. Poor Mila rolled a 5. She fires an arrow, and the elf like ducks down behind the register, and the arrow like sinks in. And now that you've had your surprise round, everybody roll initiative.
Doesn't like me. It's fine. 4.
And 16.
Right? Did I do that right? Oh, so sorry. 5.
Okay, that's a big old difference right there, girl. Like, woo, shit. All right. And Jazar is at 11. Mila is actually at the top of the round with a 19. Elrose at 16. It won't matter too much for
Me and the
Elro,
old guy
'cause
are...
so much. And bad guys are going to go on either side of with an 8 and a 3. So I'm going to do them in groups of 2. 2 of them are going to act on one initiative, and 2 of them are going to act on the other. So just to keep it from like, every other turn a bad guy goes. So all right, at the top of the round, that is Mila. She's kind of irritated that she missed, so she is going to try again. I'll use a different dice for little Mila. God damn, I used another dice and she rolled another 5. She misses again. Shit, okay. And Mila's just kind of like, damn it. And she kind of looks at her bow, kind of irritated, like, what the hell? And next up is Asha.
Okay. Then I prepared the... gosh. I'm so bad with the spell names. I'm sorry, y'all.
All right.
The Sacred Flame. I have that ready. So
Okay.
I'm going to aim... Let's see. This guy in the back.
By the counter or
Yeah, this...
back left?
It's our back... bottom left. Yeah, bottom left of the screen. Nope.
So bottom
next
right
one.
then. Yeah,
This
that
one?
one.
The one
I
that's
guess
already
so.
injured.
Yeah, we're gonna
Okay.
finish him.
Okay.
Finish it.
All right. You're going to use your Sacred Flame. They have to make a Dexterity saving throw, so I'll do that. What is your spell save DC? I have that actually. Your spell save DC is 13. They do pass, so unfortunately, because it's a cantrip, when they pass, they don't take any damage.
Okay.
So you take your Sacred Flame, and the flame glows in your hand, and you fling it, and the elf ducks just at the right time, and your flame hits the shelf behind it, and it explodes part of the shelf. Nothing catches on fire, because it is like sacred fire, so it's not gonna just set the whole world on fire, unlike Valkyria's hellfire. But it splatters against some shelving, and the elf stands back up and just kind of stares at you. And,
I'm gonna get you, bro.
Elro is going to take the opportunity to come stand against the wall on the outside, so that he's not, he's going to kind of stand out of sight a little bit, so that, he can get anybody if they come out the door, but
he's not
that way nobody
he's not in the way.
And nobody can just take a shot at him just because they can see him, so. And then that's Jazara's turn, and she's going to try and take out the elf in front of the counter. So that's a 17 to hit for her. No, that's more than that. It's a 19 to hit for her. So she's going to... She hits for 7 points of damage to that elf. And so she does 7 points of damage to that one. And she yells at him too, and she's just like, "What the hell are you doing here? And what is it you're looking for exactly?" And the elf tells her, like, "Fuck off." So because it is her first official round of combat, Jazara is a Gloomstalker, and as a Gloomstalker, on her very first round in combat, she gets 2 attacks instead of 1. So she is going to shoot another one at this mouthy ass elf. And she hits even better that time, for a 24.
Damn.
And 11 points of damage, which drops this elf. And she says, "You're gonna be mouthy, you're gonna be dead." And then she points an arrow at the next one, and at that, it is actually the elf behind the counter's turn, and that elf is going to try and fire at her, and it's because she just dropped her its friend directly in front of it. It's going to fire at Jazara, and it rolls a natural fucking 20, which isn't great for Jazara, let me tell you. And which means she takes double the amount of damage that she normally would. So she's going to take... When you get a natural 20 on an attack, the dies I have you guys roll for, you might roll a d8 or a d6 for that. You would double that dice when you get a natural 20. So it's going to hit... I rolled so low, though. So, I rolled a 2 and a 1. I rolled 2 d8s, and I rolled a 2 and a 1 for a grand total of only 4 damage to Jazara. So Jazara is going to take 4 points of damage, which is perfectly fine, of all things. 4 points ain't going to do much to your girl. So, and the other person who acted on that turn is already dead, because she killed him. Val.
So I...
And don't forget to mark off your spells as you go.
Oh, shit. Can't use that one. Can I cast Charm Person and then use Chill Touch on them at the same time?
I don't believe so. Hang on. First of all,
one is a spell, one is a
cantrip. However, Chill Touch is an action, not a bonus action. You can only do one action at a time. And you can tell on your character sheet where it says time, it'll say 1A, and that's how you know it's a full action. Because you are correct that you can do a leveled spell and a cantrip in one turn. Just one of them has to be a bonus action. So you can't do 2 actiony things at a time. However, Charm Person does not typically work in combat. It is not something you can do while you're in active combat with someone, because it won't work. Because you can't charm somebody who you are threatening to murder.
Okay. So, can I use Mage Hand?
This is the skin of a killer, Bella.
God, that's in my brain now. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Appreciate
Y'all
it.
thought we were gonna get through a whole episode without a Twilight reference.
Apparently not. Like, fuck. Okay.
Okay then. So who am I closest to? I am closest to.
You're closest to the one over here, by this one over here, over here
Okay.
by what looks like technically that's a lobster trap that it's standing next to.
Sure.
And you can move, by the way. You have 30 feet of movement if you want to move further, closer, whatever you'd like to do. You don't have to, but I'm just telling you, you can.
Okay, so it's gonna go one of two ways. Can I walk towards the one by the lobster trap and try to whack him on the head with my staff?
Sure.
And at the same time use Mage Hand and knock a bottle into the one's head who's behind the counter?
No, because Mage Hand is an action, and so is hitting somebody with your staff.
Damn it. Okay, fine. So we're just gonna walk towards the lobster trap and...
You currently do not have any bonus actions that you can take. Like, you don't have any bonus action spells, and you don't have any bonus action, like, fighting capabilities at this point. So you can do one thing a turn. You can do one thing a turn. You can do an action per turn. You can throw a spell at somebody and hit them that way, or you can like whack somebody with your staff. You could throw a dagger or something like that. But you don't have a bonus action attack. There are bonus actiony things to do, like say if Asher hit 0 hit points, or you hit really low in hit points, you could drink a health potion. That's a bonus action. But you currently don't have any fun things to do at this point. However, no, you don't have your
So I can do one action at a time.
Yeah.
Per turn.
You both at this stage have one action per turn. So.
Okay. I'm gonna make it entertaining and switch it up all over again. Again, I'm gonna go for the one by the lobster trap. I'm gonna pick it up with Mage Hand and try to put it over his head.
Okay. Let's sure. Why the fuck not? All right.
I'm gonna roll one anyway.
Shut up.
Wow. I will have you, if you're gonna use a lobster. Wow, a lobster trap is an attack. So bonus I give you. Okay, roll a d20 plus. I'll give you a +2. All right, to see if you can take this lobster trap and slam it over the elf's head.
So I rolled a 19.
All right, 21. You hit this
19
person
plus
with
21.
So you hit, and I'm assuming you want it to like stand on in and just go right over the head and like trap it over the head. Okay, that's fine. Roll me a d4 + 1, and that's how much damage you'll do from slamming a lobster trap over this person's head. Lobster trap, lobster trap.
It's a d4 + 1?
Yeah.
5.
5, that's good. All right. So you do 5 points of damage to that one, and it's got this lobster trap stuck on its head, and it's just cursing at you in Elven. Like, you don't speak Elven, to my knowledge. Yeah, you don't speak Elven, but it's clear the intent of the words, even if it's a language you don't speak, because fuck you pretty much has the same sentiment in it in any language, and it's over there, and it's like trying to yank the lobster trap like off of its head while screaming and cursing.
But it's totally wrapped up in the hair.
Yeah, like the hair is like starting to get wrapped in it. It's like pulling, like lobster traps are not meant to be gotten out of, and like so it's like trying to pull like break some trap pieces off. Yeah. So it's that elf is just fucking cursing at you and just screaming, and it will have to spend its next turn pulling a lobster trap off of its head. So yeah. On that note, it is the bad guy's turn. One of them is going to do a strength check to pull a lobster trap off of its head. Yeah, it does manage to get the lobster trap off of its head. It rolled an 18 + 3, so it did get 21. Damn. But as it's yanking on this lobster trap, and it pulls it off. Mad. And I will say, roll another d4 because it's going to do damage to rip this thing off of its head.
3.
3. Okay. So you do another 3 points of damage to the elf, and it's definitely cursing at you, and it has got its eyes focused directly on you. But that was that one's turn. The other elf, however, is going to take a shot at you. because of what you just did. 17 plus 3. So yeah. So that's a 20 to hit you. So it is going to hit you for
Great.
8 points of damage.
Oh, I'm hurt.
You are hurt. So, and we...
Protect the
that,
squishy!
and Shazara's just like, that was fucking hilarious. But also, you might want to get back. You might want to get back. So, it's now, we're back at the top of the order, so Mila's going to try and redeem herself. And she's like, okay. She like kind of like calms herself down because she was like kind of getting like kind of freaked out. She's like, okay, I can do this. And she's going to aim once again because she now has a vendetta against the one hiding behind the counter. Like she is just like, I'm gonna kick this one's ass specifically because that's the one she keeps missing. So she's like, I can do this. All right, that's much better. 4 plus 3, so 17. So she hits this time. She's like, yeah. Fuck you! She's just like not even so much focusing on the fact that she did damage. She's just glad she hit. She's like, and she's over there like kind of like getting pumped. And Elro's like, focus. Okay. She does a whopping 3 points of damage to this one. So
whopping.
She's really excited for her little 3 points of damage. So. But she's like, I hit him. She just kind of looks at Elro and she's just like, I hit him. And he's like, yes, I know. Focus.
Yes, I know.
Focus.
So focus, girl. Focus. All right. Next up is Asha.
So I'm going to step forward a bit, and I have my whip out, and I have had enough of the one that hit Val.
Okay.
So I am going to... whip his ass with the intention of getting the whip around his neck so that I can subdue him.
Okay. You're going to... I'm going to say, because you need to roll a d20 plus 3 to hit. And if you get higher than a 15 in total, I will let you say that it wraps around his neck.
Okay. Well, I'm like, did you see that? I'm like, it's a 4. It's 17.
No, it's 17.
So 17 plus 3.
20.
All right, so that's a 20. So you take the whip and you shoot it out, and like it wraps around this elf's neck, and you do manage to like catch it. And you're going to do 1d4 plus 1 damage, but you also are now tethered to this elf.
Mm-hmm.
You are tethered to him.
That did not roll at all. And it's still a 1. Plus 1 is 2.
All right.
Go, Asha! Ride him like a horse.
All right. But you do have him slightly restrained, and their hands came up and are holding on to the whip as
well. And it's just giving him a vindictive little, like, jerk. Is that a free action?
The vindictive jerk, sure. That could be a free action. That's fine. At that, yeah, there you go. You just look at it, it's like, what's that, bitch? And you, just so you know, you do have bonus actions. If you wanted to do one of those, you have 3 spells that are bonus actions, which are Healing Word, Sanctuary, and Shield of Faith. Sanctuary is where you ward a creature within range against attack, and until the spell ends, any creature who targets the warded creature with an attack has to make a wisdom saving throw first, and if they fail, they have to attack somebody else. Shield of Faith gives somebody, you can, like, say if you cast Shield of Faith on Valkyria, her armor class would go up by 2.
Okay, and how long does that last?
That lasts for, it's concentration, so you won't be able to cast another concentration spell if you cast that, but it will last for up to 10 minutes. You could give somebody a +2 to their AC, including yourself. Like, if you'd prefer to do it to yourself than somebody else, you could do that as well.
Since I'm not injured, I'm going to cast the Shield of Faith on Valkyria to give her a second to recoup. After that.
So,
thank you, friend.
Val, your armor class is currently 13, so somebody has to roll 13 to hit you.
Okay.
And it's a shimmering like field appears around you. What does your Shield of Faith look like when you cast it? As it hovers around like Valkyria.
I'd say that it looks surprisingly, I mean, you can tell it's not solid, but it looks kind of solid, kind of crystalline. As you said, it shimmers and kind of like an aurora.
Okay.
So
Well, it's really pretty. Yeah, and I like it. So, Valkyrie, you know how
she's
have like
laughing
this...
at me. I should take it from her.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you.
I
don't think she was laughing. So, but Valkyria, you possibly ungratefully have this shimmering aura around you, and it shifts and shimmers around you, and you feel a little more fortified as you stand there. So, and since you cast that and it is a leveled spell, make sure you check off the fact that you use one of your spell slots. So, okay.
Of course.
That's Elro's turn, and he's just going to continue to hide. And
Smart
that's
Elro.
what's safest for him. And now it's Jazara's turn. So she's going to turn to the elf that had the lobster trap stuck over its head, because she knows that one's the one that's going to go for Valkyria next. And she's going to try and attack that one. Yeah, 15 plus 7, she hits. And she's going to do... She does 9 points of damage to that one, bringing it down. This is the one you had originally stabbed with the dagger, Valkyria. Is this Asha? Is this the one you wanted to keep alive?
At this point, it doesn't matter. We just need to keep one. But yeah, sure.
Okay. She'll do non-lethal damage because you started that with this one. So she'll do non-lethal damage, knocking him to 0, but not killing him. So he's going to be pissed because it's lobster trap, dude. But she does bring him down, and like as she hits him with the arrow, he knocks backwards and like hits his head on the shelves behind him, and he crumples, but he's not dead. So next up is the bad guy hiding behind the register, who's gonna pop out and is going to aim at Asha, and definitely hits with a 21 to hit you, and is going to do... It is 8
Again, our
points
ass
of
is
damage.
handed to us.
Yeah.
My enemy dice are rolling better than my friendly dice at the moment, so he does 8 points of damage to you, Asha.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
Bringing Asha down to 11 out of 19. Valkyria is at 6 out of 14, and Bizarro's 21 out of 25. Your girl's hardy. Okay, Val, you are up.
Well, I'm in pain, but
You are.
So who? What's the damage looking on all these people?
One of them, the one that Asha has her whip around, looks pretty bad. He's bleeding. He's like kind of like got this whip around his neck, and he's like fighting with her over it. So technically only has 5 hit points left. And the other one that's hiding behind, keeps ducking behind the register, is doing a lot better because he does keep taking cover behind the register. So he looks pretty good, but the one Ash is dealing with her whip looks pretty fucked.
Okay. So let's try and get him out of the way.
Okay.
So I'm gonna use Mage Hand again. And because he's restrained, I'm gonna... What is on that table next to him?
On the table next to him is a nutcracker, and then some kind of like odds and ends here and there. Like the ones directly beneath his little icon is a giant wooden nutcracker.
Alright, well I'm gonna grab the nutcracker and smack him on the back of the head with it. With my Mage Hand.
Okay. Roll an attack.
Because he is restrained.
Yeah, roll an attack for me again. Yeah, your D20, and we'll say plus. I think we did 3 last time, so we'll do a plus 3 again. What'd you get? 7. Yeah, you go and you pick up the nutcracker, but it's a little heavier than you were expecting, and your mage hand can only pick up 5 pounds. So like your mage hand is still like trying to like fight with picking it up, and you're just like shit. And you realize that this thing is complete solid, really heavy wood, and you're just like shit. So you don't get a chance to pick it up.
I tried.
You did. You definitely tried. On that note, it is that one's turn, and it's going to do a strength check, and it's going to try and an opposed strength check with Asha, and it's going to try and pull your whip from you. So I want you to roll me a strength check. So roll a d20 for me, and you have no modifier for it, so it's just whatever you're going to roll on your
18.
You do a lot better than his 5. So he tried to pull it from your hands, but you just kind of like pull back and you just hold.
You were having none of it.
Yeah, you are holding steady with that whip, and you're like, "Fuck you, no!" As you hold on to it, and he's like glaring at you, but
down,
there isn't
motherfucker,
down, boy.
Like, there isn't anything he can do. Mila, we're back at the top of the initiative order. Mila is once again going to try and hit the one behind the counter. Oh, she does much better. Look at her. A whole 19 in total. So Mila rolls a 19 to hit, and there you go. That's much better. She does 7 points of damage. It's still not quite enough to take this one down, but she's slowly getting better. So she's getting there. And we're back at the top of the round, or with Asha. Asha, you have this elf restrained with your whip. What would you like to do?
Kick him in the nuts.
Okay. I'm gonna walk up to him, and like as you walk up to him, like you kind of like fold the whip like around your arm to keep it steady. If you want to, all right, that's completely fine. You're gonna do,
girl.
You're gonna do an unarmed strike. So roll me a d20 plus 2.
18.
18. You go over and you look at him and you're just like, fuck you. And you just, as you pull on the whip and you kick him directly in the nuts, your unarmed strike damage is 1 point of damage. Because it's just an automatic. It's based on your strength score, and you have a modifier of 0, so it's just an even 1. So you do 1 point of damage. Yeah, you do. It's just a petty thing, but you know what? Go for you, girl. Go for you. So,
might bring him to his knee a little bit. He's not out, but
it's the dignity part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's definitely the dignity part of it. You have taken some of his dignity. Next up is Elro, who is just going to continue to hide by the door. And then Jazara's turn. So Jazara sees you fully handling that, and is just going to let you continue to fully handle that. She's just like, nope, that's not my problem. That's fully Asha's doing something, and Asha can continue to do something over there. Yep, that's exactly what it is. It's just like, you know what, you do you, girl. Like, you go, girl. So she's going to once again throw or fire an arrow for a 17 to hit. She's going to aim the one behind the counter, and I want to
tell me it hits.
It is. She hits for 17.
Yay!
She only does a grand total of 4 whole points of damage, so she doesn't quite take it out. This one is just barely hanging on. He's just hanging on. Like
I imagine him face down, trying to rise, but it's just
like he's on Mila. They've got like this weird back and forth thing going on. And as he's like taunting Mila, like Jazara hits him directly in the shoulder, and he turns and he just kind of like, he's really pissed off. And in Elven, which she understands, he tells her, it's just like, I'm going to destroy all of you. And Jazara just kind of looks at him and says, yeah, good luck with that. Because she kind of like looks around at the body of his friends, and in Elven she tells him like, good luck with that. And next up is that guy's turn, actually. And he has 1 whole hit point left. He is going to, behind him is a door into another room. He is actually going to try and go through this door. So he's going to use his movement, and there's a doorway right here, and he's going to slip into this next room and try to look for a way out. And yeah, he turns, and he's just like, he sees how many people he has, like how outnumbered he is, his dead compatriots or his knocked out compatriots on the floor, the one that's struggling with Asha with the whip, who's kind of like on his knees because he definitely just got kicked in the nuts. So this elf is just going to turn around, throw the door that's behind him open, and dart through there, and you don't see him anymore. And Val, you're up.
Well, we're keeping one alive, so I can't do anything to him. So I'm going to help Asha with Mr. Bitch Boy here. And I'm just going to walk up. I just want to walk up to him and whack him on the head with my staff.
Sure. All right, so roll me a d20 plus 2.
9.
9 in total? Mm-hmm. You get advantage because he is restrained.
Okay.
So roll another d20 and take the higher number.
15. So 17.
15. There you go. That's much better.
9 would be a comical bonk on that.
Bonk.
9 is cartoon style. Pop, pop, pop. Just like kind of
9 is me tripping on the way to whack him on the head.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, so you're gonna go ahead and roll me a. If you're just totally whacking him upside the head, roll me a d6.
Yes, whack him right up the head. 4.
4. Perfect. That is the exact number of hit points he had left.
Woo!
So between you and Asha, she has him restrained, and like you come over there and you take your quarterstaff, baseball bat style, and you just slam it right into him, and you know he's not somebody who's getting up again. Yeah, that would have been his turn, so that's over. It's back at the top of the order with Mila, who just kind of like pokes her head in, and she's like, "Is that everyone?" And Jazar's like, "No, one went through there. We should go after him." And Mila's like, "Okay," but you're all standing in the doorway, so she's just gonna like can't go anywhere. So she's like, "Okay," and she just doesn't move. And Jazara is gonna turn and tell her, just like, circle the building in case he gets out from the back. So that's what she's going to start to do, and she's going to start moving around the back of the building. And Asha, it's your turn. You have the unconscious elf to the side, who you know isn't going anywhere, but the other one just escaped through the only door.
I'm going to drop my whip and start heading to cut that guy off. So if Mila, catches him, so if he can't come back through.
Okay, so you want to go back outside and try to go around the
building? I want to go through the door he went through. So
okay, that's
cut him off behind him.
Sure. You get just at the doorway, and as you do, you can see into the room, and he's frantically looking around the room. I can... Next. Boom. So the elf is trying to get one of these back windows open.
Mm-hmm.
And he's at the moment he's kind of like he had to unlock it because they are locked, and he had to unlock it, and he's opened it, but he hasn't gone out the window yet. So that was your movement to get here. What would you like to? You can cast a spell. You can do an attack of some kind if you'd like. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna first chide him and say, "Hey, fucker, where do you think you're going?"
And he whips around and he looks at you, and he says something in Elven that you don't understand. So, oh no, you speak Elvish, so you understand when he says "fuck you."
Bruh, no, fuck you. And then I'm going to. Which one should I do? I think I'm going to use sleep to knock him out.
Sure.
Okay.
Alright, so you cast sleep. What you're going to do with this one, it's any creatures within 20 feet of you, and he is definitely within 20 feet of you. So you are going to roll 5d8s for me. And in all honesty, it doesn't actually even have to be that many. You can just roll one. He has one whole hit point left. You cast sleep and he drops unconscious. So.
3.
3, there you go. You reach your hand out, your holy symbol of the Moonweaver glows, and it channels this like blue and silver magic through your hand, and it shoots out to him, and he kind of like stumbles, and he does fall over unconscious. So, and you guys are out of combat.
Yay!
Kick some ass, girls.
Just
Mila's
sitting over there going, how?
Yeah, Jazara's gonna go check on you.
You get him?
Yeah. And just like Mila's on the outside, just like, I don't see anyone. And Jazara will stick her head out, and she'll gesture to Elro to come back in the building, and she'll yell, "Mila, we got him. Let's come back in." And she's like, "Okay." And you hear her like start to trot back in. Pretty much.
It's like I got bested by this.
Yeah, pretty much. The one that's laying like slumped in the corner is still unconscious. However, Jazara's going to go over and she's going to tap Valkyria on the shoulder, and she's going to cast Cure Wounds on you.
Oh, bless you, friend.
Valkyria, you've been healed for 10 points.
Cool.
which should bring you back up to full.
Yeah.
Yep. So you're back up to full.
Sweet. So, and that's my max HP, right?
Yeah, you can't go past that.
Which is 14? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he's trying. I know, I say that about mine too.
I know.
Alright. Started a new recording, so that's all good to go. The other one loaded, so that's even better. Okay. So you guys, combat is over. Jazara has healed Valkyria back up to full, so you're good to go there. Elro, as Mila comes in, Mila's gonna kind of like start stepping through and like kind of like start shoving the bodies away a little bit, and mostly with her bow. She kind of like pokes at them more than she does anything. Elro closes the door like behind you guys as you step into Pelks, just to like keep anybody from coming in and discovering what's going on. But he stays by the door just in case something happens, because there is still one technically alive, the one you guys knocked out, and the one that Ashta put to sleep. And Jazara is going to go over and she's going to grab the one that you guys had originally knocked out with the lobster trap dude, and she's going to drag him over, and that bathtub that's right there, she's going to flop him into it.
Grab the bathtub.
Flop.
Yeah, and she's going to flop him into that. Asha, where did you... Now, you had gone into the doorway of this other room. You have the option of whether or not you want to investigate that room, or you can go back. You want to go investigate that room? Great.
Yeah.
So I will show you the other room. The other room is a long space. You can tell it takes up the entire back area of the store. It's clearly a small like studio place where somebody lives. There's a table with some busted looking chairs over to one side, a small fireplace towards the back, with just a single kind of like very well used chair directly in front of it. There's a little bit of a kitchen area off to the side, and there's a you can see what is a partition, and you assume there's a bathroom on the other side. Against the far wall, there is in fact a bed, and there appears to be a figure laying in the bed.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at, and I would like to know more.
And you going to approach?
I'm gonna start with a cautious knock on the door.
Okay.
Even though there was a whole argument going on, you know.
There was a whole fight in the front room. There was an elf
fight.
trying to get through the window.
And, I knocked him the fuck out. But, do you need help? We're here to help! You might not believe it.
And there is no response. But Elro is going to slowly and carefully make his way towards you.
As he looks in. Poor old man stepping over
bodies.
Dead
Yeah,
bodies.
He doesn't really. As you look at him, like
it doesn't bother him, but
like
getting his little old feet. He's a warrior. For God's sake.
He's very cautious as he walks, but you can tell, like this is not something that's new to him. He had been a ranger for a significant. He's a full elf. He had been a ranger for a significantly long time, considering his age. And he has seen many, many things, but he's very surprisingly quiet as he walks. There's hardly any noise, and if you weren't watching him, you wouldn't hear him as he walks. And he stands in the doorway and he looks in. Verla. He's going to step past you.
Stan! Sorry.
Jared!
Unfortunately, my dad yells my name that way sometimes. Aaron! No!
Delightful. Elro is going to walk further into the room, and he's going to very cautiously approach the bed, but he is walking in there. Are you staying in the doorway?
I'm gonna offer him moral support, yes. I'll stay in the doorway, yeah.
Okay.
Like, maybe inch a little bit in, but, like, hover by that table there.
Okay. He walks in, and he very cautiously approaches where the bed is. And Valkyria, what are you doing as you're in this shop space?
Oh, I'm going through the list of stuff that we have that we found. So Telgi had the dagger, the scroll. The statue.
She had the dagger. She didn't have anything else.
Okay, so we're looking for those. So I'm looking around to see what else.
Okay, so you're gonna look for the other things that were on the list of from the receipt. Okay, give me an investigation check as you do that, and as you start looking around, Elro approaches the bed, and he pulls back the covers. And Asha, from your vantage point in the doorway, even you can see the fact that what he pulls back is more ice than person at this point, and has been frozen
16.
solid. 16. Okay. You look around the store. As you look around, like, you can see that it's more trash than it is anything else. A lot of it's broken. You do find a couple of little valuable pieces. If you were interested in trying to nick any of those things, we can go down that route. But you don't see any of the things that were on the list from the receipt.
Okay, I definitely want to look at the things that I find that could possibly be worth something because shiny.
Sure. And I'm going to assume you're going to try and hide that from Mila,
Elro?
who is also
Mila.
there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Elro's in the other room, so you don't really have to worry too much about him.
Yeah.
Are you trying to hide nicking anything from...
Shiny rock there.
Absolutely
shiny rock
not.
Here.
She can see what
You're
I'm
not
doing.
gonna...
I don't give a shit.
Okay, she will say something to you if you do. So, 'cause she is a straight and narrow kind of a person. So, but that's definitely a vibe you've gotten off of her before, though.
All you have to do is kind of like wiggle your tail the opposite direction.
That's
and
true. Alright, fine, I'll try to hide it.
She has goldfish brain.
She does have goldfish brain.
She is kind of like poking at the bodies more than, like, with her bow, and more than anything, kind of like looking them over and stuff like that. She is distracted, so when I roll a perception check for her, it'll be at disadvantage.
Okay.
For her.
So sure, I'll take it to my advantage and just try to
Okay.
block it with my tail or something.
Yeah, you kind of like just turn your back to her so she can't see your hands and everything like that.
Discreetly yawn and drop it down your bra.
Yeah. Roll me a.
But did you find
sleight
anything yet? I mean, even worth taking?
Roll me a sleight of hand first, and we'll see if you can pick up anything without her really noticing you.
17.
17. Okay. She gets a grand total of a 10 for her disadvantage. So you do manage to find something. So I'm going to have you go ahead and roll me 3 d20s.
4.
2, 5, and 4 for those of you at home.
Delightful. Isn't that fun? Okay.
Trying to embrace it.
You find a stone shaped like an egg, a fist-sized egg.
Great.
Just a regular, like, pumice stone kind of thing, or anything particularly remarkable about it?
It's got like some interesting little flecks of purple color to it. But you'd have to do some more looking at it if you want to figure out what it is. Something you can't do here in this moment of trying to quickly steal something.
Okay. Yep.
You also find a bracelet whose beads are made of what look like human teeth.
Bracelet of human teeth.
And you find a book that says History of Uthadern, which is the place that Palebank Village is technically under the power of.
Okay.
And those are the 3 things that you can grab while Mila is preoccupied and Elro is in the other room. But Asha, from where you're standing, you can see when Elro pulls the blanket back, what is left of Verla is mostly ice at this point. Mm-hmm. And Elro kind of straightens as he takes like this deep breath, and he kind of turns and he looks at you and he says, "Unfortunately, it appears we are too late for Verla."
And I say a quick prayer to the Moonweaver on that one to speed her on her journey. Let's see, and then
Elro does quickly like step back, not to spend too much time around somebody who's very clearly infected.
Yeah. I'm gonna say, does she look very similar to the previous sufferers? In terms of progression of the illness.
And he'll as he walks back to you, he says, "She clearly must have been infected much further along than anyone else, she looks like Ergon did at the end. When we buried him, he was mostly ice at that point.
I see.
It is the progression that the sickness seems to take for the most part. I don't think that she would have survived much longer, even if she had been alive. She is completely from head to toe frozen solid, and there is ice on the outside of her as well. And it's exactly the way it was with Ergon in the end. She must have been infected when Ergon sold the wares here. So it must have been and he thinks for a moment, and it's like, if Ergon sold the wares here first, then she must have actually been the second person infected. And then the thieves were infected after that.
Mm-hmm.
And while you guys are having this conversation, Jazara, who has thrown this elf in the bathtub, is starting to like slap him awake, and it's just she has a dagger out and she's pointed it like right at his throat, and she's just slapping him until he wakes, and she's like, wake the fuck up, you worthless piece of shit. And she's like cursing at him in Elven, and like, Valkyria, you don't speak Elven, but like Jazara curses often enough that you know, you might not speak
I picked up on it.
But
she picked up the curse words.
Yeah.
I picked up on it.
Yeah, so she's over there and she's cursing at him in Elven, and to like wake up, and he just kind of like jerks, and he's like, and he looks at her, and he's like, and he like looks around at everybody, and like everybody in the row, and it's about that point, Asha, that Elro and you like step back through the door, back into the room, so that you are once again, everybody's in the same room, and Jazara's gonna point her dagger at him, and she says, "Who are you? Why are you here? What are you looking for? Answer me." And he's like, okay, it's fine. Everybody cool. Everybody be cool. And he's like, okay. It's like, I'm here. I'm on orders. Wasn't my idea. And he kind of like turns, he looks at Elro. He's like, wasn't my idea. Oh, coming here was not my idea. I didn't want to be here. But Hulil ordered us to come here, and you don't fucking say no to that crazy ass bitch, okay? And he's like, and he turns to Jazara, he's like, okay? And he's like, she ordered us to come here, and Jazara's like, why? What were you looking for? He said, look, a couple weeks ago, she got infected with this weird, like, disease thing, started to freeze her, and like, she started to partially turn to ice, and she sent us here because she thinks that whatever's doing it to her came from here, and we were looking for like a cure of some sort. Not that I have any idea what the fuck that's supposed to look like, because I don't know what's wrong with her, neither does she, neither does anybody else. So like, even if we'd have found it, who the fuck would have known? But that we were looking for a cure for whatever the fuck is going on. And Jazara, she asked him, this person, you said her name is Hulil. And he's like, yeah, Hulil.
Good, because I thought it was Whoville.
Whoville?
Yeah, Whoville.
Sorry.
Whoville Lutan. And she's like, she works for the Udalot family.
Sorry.
You're fine. Her name is Whoville now, so. He's like,
there you go. Change the note.
There you go. Whoville. This will just make a little note. It's just Whoville now. But he says,
what was it supposed to be?
Hulil, like Hulil.
Yeah, now it's Whoville though. So, or better yet,
Sorry,
like you guys just misinterpret that her name is called Whoville, and that's just what you hear.
That's how it is.
I like that better.
He is fully saying Hulil, but you guys just interpret it as Whoville, so that's what you're gonna go with. It's like,
Just
look,
Valkyria, like, as she's looking through, like, the stuff that she's picked up, just muttering, so only you and Asha can hear, is just going, how crazy of a person can someone be if their name is Whoville? How scary can someone be?
And I'm stifling laughter from behind the counter, just...
Yeah. And Jazara very much wants to laugh, but she can't because she's busy trying to intimidate somebody. And
busy being threatening, yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, he's telling her just like, look, Hulil sent me here. She's fucking crazy, okay? But then again, anybody who's gonna be psycho dragon priestess to like Tiamat is gonna be nuts, okay? So, but look, she works for the Udalot family. Technically, we all work for the Udalot family from Shady Creek, and we were sent here to look for things from Aor. You know, like literally everybody else who comes to this fucking frozen wasteland does, are looking for shit from Aor, obviously. And Jazara, who, however, is cataloging this as new information, and so are the both of you, but he says it like, you know, it's common practice. He's like, look, she's supposed to have gone back to the family already, but she can't because obviously she's super sick and she's like starting to freeze to death and everything, and like her little weird minion dude is like been trying to figure out ways to help her and everything, but neither of them could come up with anything. And so we assumed that it was something from here because the stuff that she stole a couple months ago from here was the only like new things that we'd actually obtained, because we haven't actually found anything from Aor in a while. And Jazara kind of like presses her blade against him a little more, and she says, "Where is Hulil now?" And he says, "Okay, it's fine. You just don't just point that thing willy nilly." And he says, "Look, she's in Croaker Cave. Okay, that's where everybody is. That's where the rest of our people are. That's where everybody is. You can go there. You can just go there, and I'll just leave. I'll leave. I don't need to be here. Fuck this place. Fuck this shit. I can just leave. It's fine. Just let me go. And he looks at Elro kind of like pleadingly, like, just let me go. I'll just leave. I'll never come back. I promise. I'll never come back. I'll never come back."
Dude on crack? I've never encountered a...
Terrified. You look at him, and this man is not prepared for genuine life-threatening situations. He's pretty young. He looks like he's probably about like 20, 21. But he looks like this is probably one of the very first instances of like getting his ass kicked that's ever actually happened to him before. So he's just more scared and not as invested in this as probably the people he works for would appreciate.
Is he quiet quitting?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That's it. We're done.
Jazara's gonna look at Elro, and she's like, "Where the hell is Croaker Cave?" And he's like, "It's a cave that's west of town, maybe about a half-day journey from here. And it's not hard to miss. There's really only so many hills past west of the village, but it's about a half-day walk. You can't miss it, really. It's supposed to be full of ice toads." And
I'm
Jazara,
sorry, excuse me, did you say ice toads?
Yes, they're, and he kind of like gestures to a size of probably about 2 to 3 feet wide, and he's like, "Yeah, they're probably about yay big and blue, and they enjoy being as cold as possible. They're kind of nice. You can tame them if you try. They're fairly friendly as long as you give them something to eat and a really cold place to sleep. We've never had any issues with them. People just don't go there because if you do disturb their slumber, they will attack you if you haven't done something to gain their trust first." And the bandit kind of looks at at between like all of you. He's like, yeah. The toads they're kind of cool. Yeah, they're kind of cool. They're kind of nice. They let you pet them, and they don't eat you as long as you feed them. And he's still kind of like he's like kind of shifty, like looking around, like he's kind of like, how do I get the fuck out of this?
So at that comment, I would like Valkyria to just kind of stare at him, blink once, because it's something that I don't usually do.
Slow blink.
Yeah, just a slow blink, and I twitch my tail and just staring dead at him. Go, feed them what?
Yeah.
Fish. We usually feed them fish. What do you think we feed them? What do you think we feed them? No, whatever it is, no, it's fish. It's totally fish. Or bats. They like bats. And there's a lot of bats in that cave. In fact, they bite, and it's kind of a pain. But if it's not fish, it's bats.
All right, tweaker.
Okay.
Oh, I'm so fucking stupid. Croaker Cave. Croaker.
It now clicked.
Could have called it the Ribbit Cave, I guess. Jazara will look at Elro and she's like, "This is your village, and so the decision is ultimately up to you. What would you like us to do with him?" And Elro kind of stands there, kind of silently. But he approaches this terrified young elf, and he says to him, "It's like, you're going to hand over all of your weapons." And the elf is just like, "Okay." And he's like, "You're going to hand over all of your weapons. And then you're going to walk out this door, and you are going to march east until you pass to the mountains of Uthadern. And you are going to continue to go there, and you will never come back. You will not go back to Shady Creek. You will not go to Eiselcross. You will walk to the mountains, travel through them, and you will never come back here. Do I make myself clear?" And the elf is just like, "Yep. Mm-hmm. Can I go? I'll go now. You want me to go now?" And he's just kind of like he just very cautiously like throws his like dagger and like his arrows and stuff just down. He's like, "Okay, I'll leave right now. I can go. Okay."
Now while he's muttering and trying to get out of there, Valkyrie just goes, "Just let him go. I want to go hunting for guppies."
He freezes and he looks at Elro and he's like, "Is there a jail cell I can hang out in instead?" And Elro kind of looks at Valkyria and just kind of like a little bit of a like, no. A grandparent's disapproval look is what he gives you. And he says to this elf, and he says, "Mila will escort you to the town hall, and you will remain there until we get you provisions for you to leave and not come back." And Mila steps up to him, and she's very serious at this point, and it's probably the most like actually serious you've ever seen her. And she tells him to get up, and she takes some rope and she like ties his hands together. And Jazara definitely like double checks her knot work as she does it. But she takes him like with the rope, and she's going to, with Elro's approval, she's going to take him to the town hall and keep him there, because they don't have an official jail cell, because shit like this doesn't happen. So they're taking him to town hall, and Elro turns to the three of you and says, "Unfortunately, Miss Pelk is passed, and it appears our problem is ongoing, especially if there's more of these people in Croaker Cave. I know it is a lot to ask of you, as you have done much up to this point for our village, and you've stopped many foes at this point. But I would appreciate it if you went to the cave and ensured that this illness does not continue to spread amongst my people."
Jazara tries to compose herself because she wants to make another guppy joke, but she won't. She doesn't want to push Elro's patience.
Yeah, his buttons.
Yeah. We will go to the caves. We'll check it out, see what we can find there. See if we can find any more leads to whatever's causing this ice disease.
He's like, good. And he's going to talk about the one that's still in the other room. He's like, Miss Pelk didn't have any family here, so I will have to notify the people of Uthadern that this has all happened. I believe she has distant relatives back in the capital city. But until then, the elf that is unconscious in the other room, if you wouldn't mind, we will tie him up and bring him to, along with his other companion, back to the village. And we will offer him the same deal, and if not, then I will call for more glass blades to come to the city and take him to jail there. And Jazara nods, and she's like, "We can do that. Do you need any help with the store? What are you going to do with it?" And he says, "At this point, I will contact some of the other village members, and we will begin setting up a funeral for Miss Pelk." And he looks kind of at the door, and the little hinge on it or the little lock on it's broken. He's like, "If you could just help me as we leave to close the door and put it back proper, at least close it as much as can be done, And Jazara nods and she says, "Sure. I will go get the other bandit that's currently unconscious. If and she looks at Val and Asha, if you want to work on the door."
Yeah, I'll work on the door.
Elro is going to step out of the store, and Jazara's going to go in the other room. She's going to tie the hands of the other unconscious elf, and she's going to like pick him up, and she's going to start mostly dragging him. Like she's got him like kind of propped up on her shoulder, but he is taller than her, so his feet kind of drag along the ground. And she's going to start going outside with him and Elro, and the two of you, if you, both of you are currently as Jazara like ties this elf's hands and like starts to move him out of the store. Elro has walked out. Is there anything else you wanted to do in the place before you walk out of it?
I think I'm gonna give it a cursory glance, see if there's anything of informational value or maybe dollar value, since nobody's looking anymore.
Sure, go for it.
Not as bold now.
Roll me an investigation check first.
11.
An 11. Okay. So as you do a little cursory little look around, you do find another book, and it does say on it Dwindalian Empire history. And the dates are probably dating about 20 years from the current time, going back probably about 200 or 300 years. But it's a fairly, a recent history book, considering mass marketing of books is kind of hard at this point in time. So, but it is a history of the Dwindalian Empire, which you did learn from Fenton and Irvin in the Jolly Dwarf Tavern. That is the major empire directly south.
Mm-hmm. I will take that and put it in my bag, because that's some solid information since we're gonna be flooring this place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So while I'm trying to fix the door, I tell Asha, I'm like, "Hey, Asha, I also found this book. You might want to add to that bag of yours."
Oh, saw that, did you? And I'll take that and put it in there too.
All right, so you now have 2 books. So you'll have the one of Uthadurn, and then you'll have the one of the Dundalian Empire. And Jazara, like, she clocks you guys doing this, but she obviously does not give any fucks. And she'll walk out the door with the
Jazara give a fuck about us pilfering?
She goes, "It's books. It's books."
As long as you guys don't get caught. Yeah, like as long as you guys don't get caught, Jazara does not care. It's when you guys get caught that Jazara now has a problem, because now it's Jazara's problem. So
now it's my problem.
So yeah, as long as you guys don't get caught, she doesn't care. And quite frankly, at this point, you guys are flat broke for the most part. You have very little in the way of supplies, so anything you guys can add to that, whether it's like actual money or like items that could be sold for money, or just something that might be useful for you guys in the future, she doesn't care, because quite frankly, you guys could use anything and everything at this point.
Right. Now, the 2 things that I found, the 2 other things, how I want to check them out, but I'm not sure which one of the 3 of us would be the best at it.
Any of you can do like an investigation check of it. You would know not to do it now because Elro is standing on the other side of the door.
Right.
So when you guys like get back to maybe like when you go back to the tavern, it would be a good time to do that. So because then you can do it in your room where nobody's going to see you do it. So but you guys leave.
Wait, I have another question before we leave.
Sure.
How badly broken is the lobster catcher?
The lobster catcher.
Turning.
So it's a little one part of it, it's mostly oval shaped with the exception of one end, which is flat on the bottom, and that flat part is where like the trap part of it is, and that's the part you put over the elf's head. That part, and it's all like made of reed and like wicker and stuff like that. That part is busted because that's where it went over the elf's head, and then like a couple of pieces here and there are pulled off from where the elf like yanked it off, and so there's a couple of busted pieces. You look at it, the bottom part of it's definitely kind of fucked, but the body part of it, with a little bit of work and like some spare like weaving materials, you could put it back the body part of it back together. You might have to do some more serious work if you want the end part of it to work again, like a trap. But it's kind of busted. But
Okay.
I would say a few days of work would, get it back into something you could shove over somebody else's head.
I don't want to keep it. I don't want to mend it. But I do want to like just nick like a broken piece from it.
Okay. As a
I would
souvenir.
like a souvenir that I'm thinking of adding to my my staff as like little trinkets of things that I've beaten people with.
Okay, so you go over and you like pop a piece of the lobster trap off, and I'll say it's probably about 4 or 5 inches of the piece of the lobster trap, and you just shove that in your pocket real quick, and yeah, you have
Ain't
the start
nobody
of
gonna hold that against you.
Yeah.
No, you've got the start of a collection. So you guys walk out the door. Valkyria, as you go, like you kind of like yank on the door to like pull it back on its hinges, and between you and Asha, you like manage to get it closed, and you guys all follow Elro to the town hall area where you dump off the elf. Now at this point in time, it's probably about 4 in the afternoon. And you know the Croaker Cave is about half a day away. You have the option of going to bed for the evening in town and leaving, first thing in the morning and then getting to the cave around noon, or leaving tonight and then getting there and you could camp out and then deal with the cave first thing in the morning.
First of all, absolutely no camping.
Yeah.
Second of all, are the ice toads nocturnal, diurnal?
Okay. You can ask Elro that.
Okay.
And he says they're strange creatures. They sleep most of the time unless they're awoken by something. The frigid temperatures of the pools of water that they like to sleep in lets them achieve a half-frozen hibernation state. So they are asleep unless somebody comes into their territory and disturb. There's no particular time in which they're active. Because they're mostly submerged in this very cold water and they're hibernating a lot. They don't have to feed often, but when they do, there's plenty of bats in the cave for them to feed on. I would say they're likely more active at night just because the bats are more active at night, but even their most active states aren't super active anyway.
Okay. Would it be advantageous of us if we take food with us and just as a precaution and just have to give it to the ice toads in case we do wake them up and they're not too angry?
And he nods. He says, yes, your best bet if you encounter them, rather than to fight them, would be to occupy them with something to eat. And once you feed them, people have been known to like be friendly with them before. They are tameable creatures. It's a lot of work to keep one because you have to constantly keep this frozen state and environment for them, so people here don't keep them as pets or anything else. But your best bet is in fact just to give them some food if you do encounter one, because it's far more interested in food than it is in you.
My kind of animal. Perfect.
And he gestures down the street a ways, because you're standing outside of the town hall at this point. He says, there's a few stalls around if you wanted to go look for some frozen fish or something that you might think would help if you'd like.
Thank you. I will definitely keep that in mind before we leave.
And Asha, anything you'd like to do? Because you guys have a couple hours before nightfall. So
I think I'll go take a quick peek at the stalls before they close up for the night.
Sure. So you guys go, and you guys say goodbye to Elro and to Mila. Mila's keeping an eye on the prisoners, and Elro has called a couple more of the glass blades, which is the you learn is the kind of like the rangers of the area. That's their title. They're called glass blades because the knives that they have look like shards of glass more than they do anything. They're very reflective. And you do learn from Elro or Mila, probably from Mila as she just chats on about her life, that everywhere in Uthadurn is policed by these glass blades of different like factions and areas. So he's called a couple more, and that's what Elro used to be. He retired from being a glass blades leader. and he's called a few more in, and they kind of like stand guard over these people, and Mila stays there. And Elro goes and he goes off to talk to villagers, plan a funeral, send word to Uthadern, about shit's happening and things like that. So he wanders off, and he's occupied, and so is Mila. So you go down this very small village, and there's a couple of stalls. It's getting a little later in the afternoon, but there's still some people up in open, and the stalls will be open until like night goes to fall and stuff like that, because then it'll get too cold to be out here. You see a couple of places that are selling like little knickknacks and stuff like that. Some of them are selling like fish, and there's only one place that's selling any kind of what looks like fruit or vegetable. Some like clothing and stuff like that, and a couple other stalls. Is there any specific thing or type of thing you'd like to look for?
I'm gonna head over to the fish stall and buy some frozen fish as preparation. Okay. What? I don't know if I've asked this before, but what do we eat other than like
you guys?
What are our delicacies that we're used to growing up with in the Nameless
heavy
city?
You guys eat, like, you eat meat, you eat vegetables and all that stuff. Yours is a little different than what's on the surface. Not entirely different.
Potatoes.
There is the potatoes. You probably have an Underdark version. You do have an Underdark version of potatoes. They're purple though, because that's what the Underdark is like.
There are purple potatoes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there are purple potatoes. Yes, this is very true. You guys do have fish. Because there is like the waterfalls that fall through the city do bring fish with them, so you are not unaccustomed to fish. And because you kind of assume somehow like there's something, that water comes from somewhere and you don't know where it comes from, you just know there's fish in it. So
now, as a tiefling, do I have any interesting tastes in food? Like, do I eat anything weird? Spicy? Okay.
Nothing weird, but you do like spice. And just because of the nature of being a shadow sorceress, really cold food, like if you were just like say ice cream, you're not going to get brain freeze from that. But really spicy things are definitely something you enjoy. Your teeth are sharp, by the way, and pointy. So like you don't necessarily need a knife to eat something. You can just take it. Yeah. So, but yeah, you would favor probably. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Your mother's also a tiefling, but she has never done that.
My mother has manners. I do not.
Yeah, so your father gets a kick out of that, by the way, and like when you guys are having like just a little bit too much fun, much to your mother's disappointment, he'll do the same, and he'll pick it up and eat it. And at that point, your mother, like on more than one occasion when you've done that, your mother will just put her cutlery down delicately and get up and leave. And your father always just looks at you with a grin. He knows he'll pay for it later, but he just looks at you because he's having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
that's awesome.
But yeah, your foods are very mushroom heavy, but as you guys discovered in session 0, there's a shit ton of varieties of mushrooms and types of mushrooms and stuff like that, of different consistencies. There's a lot of different like plants that are very weird but very glowy, and very like from the movie Avatar, the foods that look like they're there and like the plants and so that's a lot of what foods look like. You're not unaccustomed to when the people from a very long time ago who settled your town brought with them livestock and stuff like that. So the livestock that you have is generations upon generations descended from the original stuff that was on the surface. They've changed more to adapt to the like dark environment that which you live. They're all in a very dark color. Some of them like you had what are descendants, you don't know this, but they're descendants from like large livestock like boars and stuff like that were on the surface at some point, but have developed and evolved to the point that they don't see anymore. They're blind creatures and they're just born that way because they don't have to. They've developed other senses and stuff like that. One of the creatures you guys have is kind of looks like a buffalo, but it has like these little tentacles that go around it. And its horns are kind of like very curvy and kind of like come down around the face and stuff like that too. So you guys are not unaccustomed to meat, fish, or vegetables. The vegetables on the surface and the fruits, totally different. Those are definitely not something you're going to see. So if you go to like a fruit stand or a vegetable stand, you're going to be very confused. But fish is something you'll recognize.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I'm gonna go get some frozen fish for our toad friends, and whatever. See what else I can just scrounge up before we all head over back to the tavern.
Sure. So you guys go looking around for some like foods and stuff like that, specifically fish. You walk up to the fish stall, and her stall is, it's only a couple of feet. It's wooden and it's got like wheels on it, so it looks like she wheels it home every day. There's an older dwarven lady who's there, and she's bundled up in many layers, and she's got some fish like hanging from like the top of the stand down, and she's got some laid out on her table. It's very cold out, and like whenever she needs to like make sure the fish aren't defrosting, she just picks up snow, plops it on top. It's very simple for her. She'll rotate the ones that are hanging to like put them in the snow and hang the other ones back up. But
she'll smarter, not harder.
Yeah, she greets you and she's like, "Hello, I've never seen you ladies around here before. What can I do for you?"
Hi, we're very new here. What is your recommendation for the? How do I say this in a nice way?
Ice toads.
Thanks.
You're venturing out to Croaker Cave, then I take it. It's not a safe place, ladies.
I laugh in the face of danger.
All right. Well, if you are, I'm assuming you're looking to feed the toads, then trying to make a new friend, maybe take a new pet home.
It's like she's met you.
My kin.
And the lady laughs and she's like, "Well, if you're going to try and befriend some of the toads, I would recommend these." And she pulls out like a series, like a little platter that she has back here behind her cart, and it's got like 5 or 6 like frozen fish on it, and they're not very big. They're maybe like a foot long, and you're not sure what kind of fish they are, but she puts out the tray and she's like, "Well, these should occupy them for a couple of minutes while they eat, if you're trying to make a new little friend."
Perfect.
And how many are you looking to buy, dear? And there's 6 of them that are on there.
Guys, how many can I get?
You, I believe, have
Daddy's
money.
Okay.
You don't have a whole lot of money on you, but I believe you both have money in your inventory. If not, let me know and I will pull it up for you.
Inventory. Where's inventory?
Because I think I gave you guys gold in the very beginning, because I know Jazara has some, but if not, I will take a little look-see. I don't think I gave at least one of you.
Items? I don't see items.
Alright, so we will go with this route. Valkyria, you have 20 gold pieces on you.
Okay.
And Asha, you have 12 gold pieces on you.
Okay. I have the breakdown of how...
I have it somewhere.
Of the currency. I have it. Just don't know whether I had any.
So she'll tell you that it's 1 silver for 2 fish.
1 silver for 2 fish.
So it's 6 silver for the lot.
I'll take the lot.
Alrighty then. So you give her, I'm assuming, a gold piece because you don't have any silver.
Right.
And
can't break the 20.
Yeah. So she will give you back 4 silver pieces. So knock off a gold and add 4 silver to your character sheet.
Okay.
All right.
Now I have one more question.
Sure.
What's the spiciest thing you got here?
Oh. Well, and she gestures to her wares of fish. Nothing. I don't sell spicy fish. And she's like, "I don't know where you come from, my dear, but we don't have spicy fish here. If you're looking for some spicy fish, I'm afraid you're going to have to put some spices on it." And she gestures like down at one of the other stalls that's selling like vegetables and spices and fruits and stuff like that. And she says, "If you go just down the way, I do believe my dear friend has some spices that you could use if you're interested in that, but no spicy fish here."
Darn. Well, thank you anyways.
Of course. And she bids you farewell, and you guys walk. Did you want to go any of the other little shops?
I want to go with the spices because I want to get a spice and give it to our lovely friend of the Jolly Dwarf.
Okay. So you go to the dealer who's got like what looks like some herbs, some vegetables, some roots that are around, and with a small basket of fruit there, because fruit up here is very rare, but vegetables they can grow in like greenhouses and stuff like that a little better. And the older man at the who's at the little stall, it's like, hello, ladies, and he kind of looks at all of you like strange people I don't know. Okay,
not how I anticipated my day going.
Yeah, it's like, hello, what can I do for you?
Don't eat me.
Do you say that out loud? That's a question. Do you say don't eat me out loud? Just checking. Jazara will step forward a little too, because she wants to like peruse his wares, because you guys have very little in the way of supplies. But Valkyria, if you'd like to talk to him first.
Yes, hello sir, I would like the best concoction of spicy spices you can come up with for a stew.
Best concoction of spicy spices for a stew, she says. Okie dokie. Believe it or not, my book comes with food. My fun book of books and things comes with a list of local delicacies, and from it I can tell you what kind of foods are in the area.
The spiciest
Spices.
spices up
The
here
spicy spice.
is flour.
Fair point. She makes a good fucking point. Like, oh, we got really spicy flour. We've got flour. We've got flour. We've got sunflower flour. We've got
Cornflower.
I was gonna say, me as a person doesn't know names of flowers, so like I know there's different types of flour. I can't name any of them for you though.
Flour.
I'm just kind of like, there's
Fake
flour and non-flour flour and the other flour, and did I mention there's flour? So, so you know, the flour. So, but he kind of like starts digging. He's got all of these like weird vials and stuff like that he's got thrown everywhere. And as he's kind of like looking for things, like he kind of like throws some things to the side and like just starts digging through a bunch of different stuff. And he kind of like looks around a little bit, and he says, okay, something spicy for the lady. Okay, I got this. And he says, well, this all the way from the Menagerie Coast. And he says, which is a long way to travel to our frozen little piece of paradise. And he holds it up to you, and it is called, I need the name of the place.
Look at that big ass map she's got.
Folded over many times.
Is that the one you brought to the hotel?
Yeah.
Oh, that was pretty.
It's a very pretty map. But and he holds it up and he says, this is called Damali's Ruin, and it is not for the faint of heart. It's like, if you like spice, and he starts to hand it to you, and then as you might reach for it, he pulls it out and he's like, and you really must like spice, you can give this a try.
Does she have to sign a waiver?
Like in New Orleans?
Yes. There were spices in New Orleans. We went into a hot sauce shop.
Yeah.
And you had to sign a waiver
to try one specific one.
Mm-hmm. Woo! All right. Is it made with ghost peppers or what?
I don't remember what the Scoville rating was, but it just sounded awful.
Yeah.
Did either of you have it?
I think it's the one I bought, wasn't it? With the squid ink?
That was pretty hot, but I don't think that was the
No? Okay.
I don't think you signed anything for that one.
No, that was just to try it there. You didn't have to sign the waiver to buy it.
I don't know.
I don't remember.
But you don't have to sign a waiver for this. But he looks at you and he's just like, "Do you think you can handle it, darling?"
How much?
5 silver.
4 silver.
All right, roll me a persuasion check.
17.
He looks at you and he says, "We haven't had visitors in a very long time, and it's been even longer since I've had somebody interested in some of my more exotic wares." He says, 4 silver. It's a deal. And he hands you the vial of it's a kind of like a grainy powder almost, and it's red with little flecks of black in it.
Okay.
So you could take 4 silver off of your character sheet.
So I got 19 gold. All right.
And Jazara's gonna step up and she's like, "We also need some supplies for a bit of traveling."
Yes, the important things.
And Jazara looks at you, says, "The practical things." She's like, "We're making a journey tomorrow. If we could perhaps purchase a couple days worth of rations from you, we'd appreciate it." He's like, "Oh, of course, of course." And he takes a couple of vegetables, what look like things you guys have never seen before, but they are carrots and some potatoes and things like that, and a couple other hearty vegetables and potatoes, and he puts some things on there, and he's like, "How many days are you looking for?" And she says, "For the 3 of us, let's call it safe and say 2 days worth, I would say." It's like, okay, and he puts a couple of things together, and like he puts it in like this cloth that he ties up together, and he hands it to Jasara, and he tells her it's for 2 days worth of rations for all 3 of you. It's 2 gold.
Got any cheese? I'd like to add some cheese.
Cheese, and he's like,
"Please, sorry." Oh my god.
"Sure." And he's like, "I do. In fact, I have some cheese." And he pulls out a probably a decent sized block of cheese, and he's like, "That will be 2 gold and 5 silver then."
I'm gonna reach in and grab, because this is my special request. I'm going to hand over gold.
You're gonna do the 5. How much are you paying him? Because Jazara will split it with you if you.
Yeah, you want to do it straight in half?
Sure. And she says, "I'll do a gold and 3 silver, and then you do a gold and 2 silver then."
Okay. Will do. So we do some math that I'm still not capable of doing, and we get some change back, I guess.
Very true. All right. So you had 12 gold before, so you are down to 10 gold, 10 gold and 8 silver. Okay. And so you guys get your wares, and Jazara kind of like split some of it up between you guys, so you guys all have about 2 days worth of rations and stuff like that. And at this point, now that you've done a little bit of shopping, it's getting closer to about 6 o'clock, and like the sun's starting to set, and you see some of the the stalls and everything starting to close up. Is there anywhere else you wanted to go before you take shelter in the Jolly Dwarf again for the night?
Nope, I am ready to go back to the Jolly Dwarf and have our lovely barkeep make me some spicy stew.
All right, so you head back to the Jolly Dwarf. It's not hard to find. It's the only large building in the entire place, and so you make your way back. And as you go, and obviously the barkeep is there, and he's having a good time.
Wait! Before we get there, how far away is the town? Is the I guess City Hall? I guess where our guppy is being held.
About 10 minutes of a trudge back to the snow, back the way you came.
Is it on the way from the stalls? No, it's not. Okay, never mind.
Okay. So you make your way back to the Jolly Dwarf. You walk in. It's blissfully warm. It's delightful. And you kind of like bundle yourselves like up in the warmth, and you like take the wet soaking layers of your outer clothes off, and you hang them to dry on the little coat racks and things that are around. And as you do, the barkeep greets you, and he's like, "You're back. Did you have fun? Did you find anything? Did you do anything interesting? Did you find anything interesting?"
Now that you mention that, barkeep, I found something I want to try, and I need your expertise, your expert hand with it.
Ooh, my favorite. Do tell.
See this vial?
Ooh, and where did you get that?
A lady never kisses and tells. So, just take a pinch of this. It's all you'll need. Just take a pinch and make me the best stew you can.
Oh, my dear, I will whip you something up delicious. And he takes it from you, and he pops off his stool, and he goes back to the bar and into the kitchen, and you hear like clanging of pots and pans, and at one point there's a crash, and you hear a dwarf yell "shit," and then it's just more clanging around. And Irvin and Fenton are sitting, at one of the tables and everything, and their daughters, Honor and Magic, are running around playing and stuff like that. And eventually they'll run up to you and ask you to play with them as well. And they're like, play with us, play! Come on!
I will play until the food's ready, because that is something I want you girls to try.
Ooh. Well, Honor kind of like straightens up. She's like, well, we do have to ask permission first. And she kind of like nudges Magic. She's like, but okay, we'll do it. She's like, do you want to play Heroes and Dragons with us?
You mentioned my favorite word. Dragons.
Ooh, do you want to be the hero or you want to be the dragon?
Her, the dragon.
Ah! They take off running as you chase them around pretending to be a dragon. And Jazara will go and she's going to sit with Fenton and Irving, and she's going to talk to them about, like their day, and start telling them about, all the stuff that you guys did today, because they'll wave you all over, to come sit with them and have dinner with them once again. Asha, where would you like to go? Would you like to sit with the family, or do you want to do something else?
That sounds plenty cozy while we wait for some food.
Sure.
I
and
ordered mine non-spicy.
Yeah. And as
I don't fancy being on the chamber pot all night.
And you totally tell that to Val, and whether or not the barkeep heard you or cared is an entirely different matter. Mm-hmm. But as you guys,
there's always bread.
There's always bread.
You go sit with Irvin and Fenton, and you guys start telling them about your day and everything, and they're really surprised to hear about everything that's going on. But they tell you, they're just like, I've heard of so many things happening, and the things that come out of Aor, and they're kind of wild and crazy. And he's like, but you're not from the surface. So he's like, this is Irvin who's talking. He's like, do you even know what Aor is?
Not really.
And Irvin like kind of takes this because as it's like, ooh, he kind of gets kind of excited, and Fenton just kind of rolls his eyes and looks at you both, and
Fenton's like, oh, here we go,
and he's like, he fancies himself a history buff, and Irvin looks at him and says, I don't fancy myself anything, I am. And he said, I don't consider myself an expert by any means, but I've been known to dabble in a bit of Exandrian history from time to time. And Fenton rolls his eyes, but it's good-natured.
And as our party's, resident history buff, I sit up and I'm ready to listen.
All right. And so Irvin will... at the moment, mostly just talking to Jazara and Asha because Valkyria is busy being a dragon. And you can hear in the middle of all of this conversation that's going to happen, it is interrupted momentarily by bits and pieces of dragons screaming, and like the girls like shrieking as they pretend to be heroes and stuff like that. And they're fighting Valkyria with like wooden spoons and stuff like that. And it's adorable. And Valkyria, like you get like they at some point try to like flank you, and one of them will jump on your back and the other one like holds onto your leg and everything. It's adorable, and it's a lot of fun. But Irvin will tell you, is like, but before the calamity in the Age of Arcanum, there was a great deal of magic in the world, and there was a great deal of magical cities, including flying cities that used to travel all over Exandria. And they were held aloft by magic and a stone called Broomstone. and they would travel all over the world, one of the most significant of which was a city called Aor. Aor, however, was also one of the first places to fall in the calamity. The mages of Aor were arrogant. They were building devices to fight the gods. And this is before the gods were at war with one another. War at one another the second time. They had been at war with the primordials once before, but that was many, many years before. But the mages were creating weapons of horrific nature. They were supposed to be able to take down the gods. Some places were rumored to be creating illnesses that could take down the gods, and other places were creating machines that could fight the gods, and weapons, and magic so forbidden and unknown and powerful it could rip holes through this plane into the next. There were untold horrors and wonders and fantastical and disturbing things all at once happening in Aor. And when the calamity struck, and the betrayer gods and our gods fought with one another, the only time they formed an alliance was to take Aor and throw it to the ground. They took the flying city-state of Aor, this massive, almost a country in and of itself, and they together tore it to pieces and threw it into Exandria, into oblivion. And for centuries after the calamity, nobody knew what happened to it. But in recent decades, people have learned that as more and more strange things started to come out of Eiselcross, people began to investigate. The Dwendalian Empire, the Jorhassians, Uthadern, even just mercenaries and curious folk alike started traveling to Eiselcross, and eventually they discovered the ruins of Aor, scattered in many, many pieces across the islands. But because the magic there was so powerful, and the people of Aor, though had a small warning, did have a warning that it was coming, were able to activate in many districts these force fields that covered some just small family groups, some individuals, but for some cases, whole buildings, whole districts, whole streets and town areas were able to be engulfed in this force field, so that when they hit the ground, parts of the city survived. And the theory is that some of the people survived as well. However, they're all frozen in time in these force fields that no one, after decades of research, can manage to break. No one has ever broken one of the force fields in Aor before. And quite frankly, and he looks at his husband and turns back to all of you, I hope no one ever does. The people of Aor were well beyond us in terms of magic and capabilities, but their capabilities bore arrogance, and their arrogance brought their death. He says, I cannot imagine the things that they're capable of, especially if you were to unlock some of the force fields and discover scholars, mages, scientists. The knowledge that they have is more valuable than any amount of gold on this planet, but is also more dangerous. The ruins of Aor are a hotbed of activity for thieves, mercenaries, and researchers alike. You're likely, if you wander through any part of Eiselcross, to find at least a small fraction of something that fell from the city, whether it's relics, buildings, or just fragments of the rocks that it floated on itself. But the entirety of Eiselcross is covered in its pieces, and with it covered in its horrors. Some of the magic leaks, some of the creatures got out, and some of the native creatures that were already there became infected with magic. Eiselcross is not a simple place, and some of the things that walk there are haunted by magics long since torn from the sky. If you, for any reason, go to any island on Eiselcross, you should be very careful, because what there can bring you riches and horror in equal measure. And it's about the time that he finishes this story that your dwarven barkeep comes back out. He's got bowls in his hands, but also lined up on his arms close to his shoulder, and he's like balancing them as he walks very awkwardly. And he's just got these steaming bowls of stew, and he like lays them all out over the table. Fenton and Irving had not ordered anything. There's bowls for them. There's bowls for their daughters. There's bowls for Valkyria and Asha and Jazara. And he sets them in front of all of you and he says, "Eat up, enjoy." And Asha, as you look from your bowl to the other bowls, they all look exactly the same.
I take a tentative sniff and just know that I'm gonna regret this.
And Val, you see dinner's like served, and you and the girls come back to the table and everything like that. And Honor and Magic are sitting there looking at it, and they smell it, and they hold the bowl up to, "Oh, what is it? What is it? What is it?" And they look at you for answers.
What do you think dragons like?
Gold.
To eat, honey. To eat.
To eat gold?
Not wrong.
And like Honor makes Magic makes a face, just like, "To eat gold?" And they're like, "She's 6. Like she's confused."
Now, while this doesn't look like gold, it's worth gold.
Ooh, are we gonna eat gold?
Drink up, little dragons.
Okay, and they just immediately start eating, and they are also tieflings. So you take a bite of your stew, and it's spicy. It's spicy in a way of nothing you've ever tasted in the Underdark before. It's spicy in if you took cayenne pepper and then just drizzled hot sauce right through it, and kind of like mix it up in just like a regular stew. And maybe it's got like this weird like citrus punch to the back of it that you can't quite identify, but it's got this little bit of a sharp but clean aftertaste that leaves in your mouth, despite the fact that it is a very hearty stew. It is spicy. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, it's probably like a 7. You know, it's not the spiciest thing on the planet. Like, it's nothing compared to like biting directly into a fire lichen mushroom, and it's like, whoo, that makes even you breathe fire. But it is pretty spicy, especially for a frozen tundra of the north.
Perfect.
And the girls are like, ooh, and they like start fanning their mouths a little bit, but they immediately continue to eat like more and more. And their fathers take a little more time. They do slowly eat it, but they do eat it. And they just seem to be more enjoying the girls having fun than they care so much about whatever food is. So, Asha, what do you think of your spicy, not spicy?
Spicy. I'm taking very tentative sips of my soup.
Her stew is more bread than it is stew.
Yeah, there is bread on the table and stuff like that. Like you can like dip your bread like in the stew to like help.
I've ripped it and I'm letting the bread absorb it, but I'm also keeping bread on the side to
there you go.
Help me. And I flag down the barkeep and I say, "Do you have a little milk?"
Oh, of course, my dear, of course. And he brings you milk to like add to it and stuff like that. And he's
no, drink it separate because that's what because you're not supposed to drink water when it's
when it's
hot.
spicy.
Yeah. Well, he gives you like a little glass and he sets it to the side, and he's at the bar enjoying his own, and like he'll eat like a couple bites, and then it's really spicy for him, and you hear him like pound on the bar like
take like 5 sips of meat just like to counter it.
Yeah. So, and you guys have like your drinks and stuff like that, and you eat it, and it takes a little while for some of you to like get through the spice. Jazara, she eats it probably at a faster pace than Asha does, but not nearly as fast as Valkyria does. She enjoys it, but she has no particular fondness or dislike for spice one way or the other. So, and she's more of a fruit person.
Yeah.
And but she eats it, and you guys have a good time, and like you talk to the family and stuff like that, and it gets late, and you guys play some, like with the girls a little bit more, and like chat with Irvin and Fenton and stuff like that until it gets late enough that you can reasonably call it a day. And is there anything you wanted to do before you go to sleep for the evening?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I would like to sit down wherever that, like on the bed, on the floor. I don't care. I just want to sit down.
Okay.
And bring out all the stuff that we've pilfered today.
Okay.
So I have my book of Uthadern. I've got the shiny the stone looks like an egg, and my bracelet of bones. Now I would like to do, what is it, a perception check or a history check? I can do history check.
If you want to, now which item are you going to start with, and then I'll tell you what kind of check you're going to do with it.
The bracelet.
The bracelet. Do me an investigation check.
13.
13. You look at it. It looks like humanoid teeth for the most part. Kind of old. If you're gonna, you would estimate they're not super recent because they look a little worn and stuff like that. But in a way, if not like use, but like they've got collected some dust and stuff like that. So you'd say maybe like 30, 40 years old. It looks like a collection of different sized humanoid teeth. If you had to venture a guess, they're not sharp, so you know they're not tiefling. It looks like a full set of teeth. So with maybe like a couple missing here and there. There's no like pointy incisors, so they're not vampire or Danfear the way Ashes are. And you can tell there's like a couple of species that you can rule out. Like dwarves have like stouter, like thicker teeth and stuff like that. So if you had to venture a guess, you'd probably say human. But anything closely related to human, it might be.
Okay. Can I sense if there's any kind of magic lingering on it?
Yeah, you can go ahead and give me an Arcana check for that.
14.
14. There is nothing that strikes you that's magical about these. You think maybe just somebody was bizarre.
Probably somebody's baby teeth.
They are adult teeth.
Oh.
They are adult-sized teeth. Which
Maybe
is probably more
bigger.
disturbing than it is anything else. They are adult-looking, a full set of adult teeth, and you're just not really sure why anybody would keep that. But you know, it is what it is.
There's nothing magical to it. I'm just gonna use it as a bracelet on my tail.
Okay, you'd have to loop it over like a couple times because it's a decent size. And worth wise, I'd say if you could find somebody weird enough to buy it from you, you could probably get a gold for it. That's probably about it. But you'd think you'd have a hard time finding somebody willing to buy teeth from you. So
that's fair. So that is my new accessory on my tail.
Okay.
So I've got my egg shape stone.
Okay. You can give me an investigation check on that.
21.
21. You realize you're holding a geode.
It's a geode.
Yeah, and like you're like the Underdark in the Nameless City is covered in things like crystals, and geodes are not uncommon in any kind of capacity. They're very common decor, like in the Underdark. But you realize you are holding a whole uncracked open geode.
Can I also do another Arcana check?
Yeah,
so you've got any power on it.
Sure.
12.
12. Nothing particularly magical about this. You think depending on what's inside of it, you might be able to use it as part of spell components. But until you open it, but there's nothing innately magical about it. But until you open it, you won't really have much of an idea of what it would do for you.
Okay. Asha. Hey, come over here.
Okay, coming.
What do you think I should do with this rock? Do you guys crack it open now, or just put it away in the bag?
Maybe crack it open now just so you can see if it's worth carrying later.
Okay.
And I'm going to assume that while you guys are doing this, Valkyria is sitting on the floor with her stuff like sprawled out in front of her. Jazar is going to be laying on one of the beds, kind of like watching you guys do this. And Asha, where do you want to be in the room?
Well, now that I've moved, I'm perched on the end of the bed.
Okay.
I haven't fully committed to getting off the bed, but just so I can see what she's doing.
Okay, kind of like sitting at the end of the bed, like looking over her shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Jazz.
Okay. Yeah, what's up?
Give me one of your blunt, heavy objects so I can crack this baby open.
Okay. Sure. And she's like, probably the best part would be to use the hilt of this dagger, and she hands you one of her daggers.
Crack!
All right. I'm going to have you roll me a strength check to open.
Strength check.
Now she's squishy, y'all. Let's see.
13.
Ooh.
13. All right, so you hit it, and like there's a crack in it. It does not bust open, but you'd have to do it again to see if you can get it open.
6.
You go to slam that one, and it misses, and it hits the floor.
Damn it! All right, one more go. 5.
You miss again. Like you're trying to hold it in a way that doesn't like slam into your hand, but you miss this time and you do hit your hand this time.
Fuck! Ow!
Jazara's gonna laugh at you a little bit, like not a lot, just a little, and she sees you suffering a little. She's like, "Do you want a hand?"
Here, you hold it and I'll smash it again.
Absolutely not. No, no. I watched what you just did. Absolutely not.
I've seen your work. No, thank you. It's a no from me, dog.
All right.
You can try it again if you'd like.
I'm stubborn. I'm gonna try one more time, and then I'm gonna get Jess to help me.
All right, go for it.
20! Natural 20!
Natural 20. All right, you take the end of the dagger, you slam it in there, and it cracks perfectly in a line all the way through it and pops right open. And you see the inside is a beautiful amethyst on the inside.
Whoa, purple shiny.
And you would know by looking at it, it's worth 30 gold.
Woo, expensive.
It's a lot of spices.
That's a lot of spices.
Mm.
And
Cool.
the other two things that you guys have collected are both books.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not the history buff, so Asha can keep the history of Uthadern book. Have at it, Cupcake.
So, Asha, you now have 2 books. You have the Dwendalian Empire history, the recent history, and then you have the Uthadurnian one, which that one stops about a century ago. Like it's probably 1,000 years worth of history, because it's a big book. It's a thick book, but it does stop at about 100 years ago.
Yes. So what I'm going to do is take it with me to bed, and I am going to read it until I fall asleep.
All right. So you guys go and you Asha, you start to read a little bit, and the other lights in the room are like dimmed down. Just the one closest to Asha's left on, and everybody else goes to bed. And Jazara will
take my my shiny purple geode and my other shiny that I found venturing outside of my crystal, and just stare at them until I fall asleep.
Okay. So you kind of hold them in your hands, and you just kind of stare at them as you're laying on your side and everything. You have them in front of you. And I'm assuming, because the crystal, I'm assuming you tied to a necklace kind of a thing and to wear it.
Yeah.
Because you have to have contact with it for your magic to you be able to utilize it. So you leave it around your neck, but it's long enough that you can hold it out in front of you and everything. So you fall asleep looking at your shinies. Jazara uses her alarm spell and sets up the spell across the room again. And she reminds you guys that, anybody who goes in and out of it will set off the alarm. The 3 of us going in and out of it won't set off any kind of alarm because I've attuned us to it. But anybody else who comes in, it will trigger. So she sets that up, and you guys go to sleep. And you fall asleep, and Asha, as you read, which book would you like to start with?
The Big Bad Book Daddy.
Big Bad Book Daddy.
They're both pretty big. The one for Uthadurn is larger.
The bigger one, yeah.
They're both fairly large books.
So
I'd say the Dwendalian Empire one is about 500 pages, and the Uthadurn one is probably about 800.
Yeah, let's go with the Uthadurn one.
Okay. And it's not so much that it's dry, it's that it's
a history book.
Extremely detailed. In every possible way. It's extremely detailed. And if you flip into the Dwendalian one just to look at it, that might be the driest history book you've ever read in your entire life. It's like reading another World War II book. It's just another one. Goddamn. They seem to manage one of those books that manages to take an interesting thing and make it boring, a high school textbook, kind of like that. So you guys, you do your
go to sleep very fast.
Oh yeah,
you go to sleep. You guys can all do a long rest, so you get your spell slots back. You get all that fun stuff back. So you get all your hit points back and all that. So you guys are good to go there. spell slots, HP, anything else that was going on. You get all that stuff back. And you wake up in the morning, and
that someone was gonna hang up in their game room or something.
Yeah, it looks like Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Critical Role fans do really nice art. Just like, holy shit.
Google mic, turn off.
Oh. Boom.
Much better.
Yeah.
No echoes.
Alrighty. Little Bucky's here with me. He's by my feet. And he has an eye infection, so he doesn't feel all that great. So.
Oh, BB.
He really doesn't like getting his little face cleaned a couple times a day. So.
I don't blame him.
Yeah. But you can tell he doesn't feel good because he hasn't been running around and doing all the crazy stuff he usually does.
Aww. And Cookie!
And guest starring Cookie. Cookie and Bucky are our guest stars for the day. Cute.
Oh. I love Cookie.
Am I allowed to touch Tummy? Okay. Just don't want to get anybody all pissed off.
No, she good. She's very vocal. Meow.
Meh.
See?
Bucky only gets quite that vocal when, 1, he gets scared because he doesn't see anybody. 2, when he hears a can opening. And 3, when he knows I have his kitty cat candy bars. So.
Oh, that's so cute.
What goes on in a kitty cat candy bar?
There are these treats that I found at Walmart, and they look like a Hershey bar, but instead of like the long rectangular like treat parts, they're these little squares, and it looks just like a chocolate bar. And so I break him off 2 pieces and I give them to him. And like there's one of them I have is like salmon flavor, and another one's like chicken, and I've got a tuna one. He loves those things. He adores them, and he knows the sound of me opening the little candy wrapper that they come in.
The crinkle bag, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
So if I ever need him...
Marshy loves the Tiki Cat single serve like treats.
Yeah, yeah.
And like it's like it's not like a pate, but it's like it's wet.
Mm-hmm.
And she hears that, she goes ape shit.
Yeah.
Like more like a baby food kind of.
Yeah, like a mush.
Yeah. Sam likes the stuff like that. Comes in like this Go-Gurt looking tube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Sam really likes those, but Bucky loves his kitty cat candy bars. So I feed him kitty cat candy bars. So Sam likes them too, but only on occasion. So all right, you guys ready?
Yes.
Alrighty. So you guys are you went to sleep for the evening. Some of you reading, some of you staring at your shinies. In Jazara's case, setting up, an alarm system, and then pretty much just going straight to sleep because she's has no idea what's going to happen tomorrow, and so she wants to make sure she's well rested for it. And though she does spend a little bit of time cleaning up her bow and everything. So, and the arrows, because she had collected the arrows that she had fired, and some of the ones that she'd gotten off of that wimpy dude who'd just given up because he dropped all his arrows. She had spent time inspecting them and making sure they were up to snuff, and then putting them and adding them to her own quiver. And so you guys, you wake up pretty early in the morning, as is typically routine for all of you, because, in the Nameless City, you guys all had a lot of responsibilities and things like that. So you wake up in the morning, you go down, you get yourselves cleaned up again, and you go downstairs, eat your breakfast and everything like that. Is there anything you wanted to do in the morning before you set out?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. As you guys are eating breakfast, then Jazara will ask the bartender where Croaker Cave is exactly, because you guys don't technically know that. And he gives you guys directions of telling you it's like towards the west. It's a collection of like hills that lead into some caves and stuff like that. And he says you can't miss it because everything else around it's flat. And he says it's probably about half a day away, as long as you don't get lost. But it's and he says you can't miss it because the cave opening is surprisingly large. So he gives you guys
the town hall on the way.
It could be if you wanted it to be, because it doesn't really matter where you exit the town. So you guys could pass by the town hall if you'd like.
I just want to start my morning with some trauma. That's all. Just want to guppy.
All right, so you guys, you finish your breakfast and everything, and you get ready, and you leave, and as you're walking by, you pass by the town hall, which is, as you look at it and you come up to it, it's one of the larger buildings in town. It's one of the only 2-story buildings in town, mind you. And it has a large set of like wooden double doors, one of which is open. There's quite a few people around. You can see glass blades walking around. There's a lot of chatter going on. This is the most interesting thing, what happened last night with Pelks. Is one of the most interesting things that's happened in Pale Bank in a very long time. And there's some couple of glass blades standing outside the door. There's a couple of villagers who are around and who are chatting with one another, and some people who are carrying stuff to and fro. Some carrying like boards of wood and stuff like that off in the direction of Pelks. You think maybe they might be going to like board the place up and stuff like that. But there's quite a few people walking around the town hall. What would you like to do?
Just from looking inside, can I see where, like, is the guy from last night, the prisoner? Is he still there?
So as you kind of like walk by, you're kind of doing that like the way people look at a car crash, but like as they're driving, like real slow and kind of subtle, but not really. Kind of look, and as you look in, you can see Elro. He's in there along with some other people, and there's on the table there's a large table that's in there, and there's a sheet covering it, and it's fairly large, and you think that's probably Verla Pelk, the way it's covered. But besides, you're gonna roll a dice. Thank you. But besides him, some villagers and stuff like that, and some glass plates, you do not see the former prisoners.
Oh, boo. Walking on.
Okay, so you guys keep going. Jazara is gonna take the lead to lead you guys out, and thank you for all of your help. I know you're having so much fun rolling d20s. Bucky's on my desk, but and he rolled a 14, so
good boy.
Good for you, baby. He adds 1,000,000 to his charisma check, just so you know. So, but
it is impossible to resist the Bucky.
Exactly. But you guys start walking out of town, and everybody can give me let's do a nature check today.
$17.
14.
All right, Jazara rolled a natural 20. So as you guys are going on, no issues. You know you're headed in the direction of what they talked about, because the dwarf for the inn did step outside of the inn to like point you guys in like the direction of where to go and stuff like that and what to look for. It takes you guys a while. You're walking, it's chilly, but luckily there's no snowfall or anything like that. One of you roll me a d6.
4.
4? Okay. As you wander along, but as you're walking along, there's not really anything going on. You hear little like chirping noises off to the side, and as you guys are walking through some snow, mostly just like paying attention to yourselves and stuff like that, and like keeping an eye out for stuff. And who would be behind Jazara walking?
Asha.
Yeah.
Asha,
because I imagine you're walking around like you're looking. You're just kind of enjoying being outside.
Yep. Okay, that's fine.
Like how I usually act when we're out.
But you guys, all three of you will hear this. But you hear like little chirps, little yipping noises, and probably a good 50 yards away, but coming up over one of the little dunes of snow, is a little family of Arctic foxes. Who are like, the little ones are like chasing each other, and they chase each other like over the hill and stuff like that. And there's like a couple more like adult ones that are there, and you can tell it's like a little family unit. And you watch them as you guys walk, and as they run along and they play and they tumble through the snow a little bit, and they get up and they chase each other around and all that. And so
So
you have
cute.
you have some a little bit of entertainment of watching them walk, and then they probably go parallel to you for probably about half an hour, just having some fun. They don't really, you're far enough away that they don't seem to care. Like you can tell like the parents like clock you,
Right.
but you're not doing anything to them, they're not doing anything to you, and as long as you maintain your distance, they just kind of continue on for a little while.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're
And I'm happy
adorable.
enough to have company.
Yeah, and you guys just kind of watch them, and it's just really interesting too, just to see animals of the surface, because it's all pretty new to you guys. Like, there's a couple that Jazara's seen here and there, but it's the most part new to all of you. So, you walk on for a couple more hours. Val, go ahead and roll me a d6.
4.
Another 4. Roll it again.
Roll it again. 4. 3.
Okay. It's just like an army of foxes and maids. Jesus. Okay, 3. So you guys are walking along for the most part, and interestingly enough, as you go, there is a small, like, frozen lake to one side. Jazaro is gonna lead you. She's like, we're gonna go around this. It's not hard to go around it. It's just going. It's a very small detour. But you guys do go around it, and as you walk by it, you can see like large shadows like weaving in and out of the ice as you go by it. You're not close enough to like that you are worried about stepping on any of the ice, but you can see that close to the underneath the ice is some large creatures swimming around underneath it as you walk by.
Big fishies.
Big fishies. And Jazara points out, and she's like, because it's an actual lake, but like it's not a huge lake. And she points out, she's like, I wonder if that lake connects somewhere else. Creatures that big can't survive in something that small. Either that, or it's a really fucking deep lake.
Jazz, go diving.
I think I'll pass. Thanks. I think we've got business to attend to, and none of it's getting eaten by a fish. Pretty sure I came close enough to that when we escaped the Underdark.
Don't want to be fish food?
Not today.
Okay.
We'll see how I feel after we deal with whatever the hell's in this cave.
Well, we're more likely to be frog food anyway, so let's save
fair.
ourselves for that.
That's fair. So you guys
Just
keep
how
going.
I want to go out being frog food.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a lot of fun. And Jazara says that in a way that just guarantees it's just not gonna be fun, and she knows it. But you walk along for a little while longer. It's getting closer to probably about 10 or 11 at this point. You know you're getting close. So I'm going to have everybody roll me perception checks to try and find what you're looking for here.
12.
Combined, it's 20.
20. And Jazara got a whole 8. So woo! It's a good thing Asha knows what she's doing. But Asha, as you're like looking around, you do start to notice like a series of hills like coming up in the distance, and you guys use that to navigate your path because there's nothing else around but like some snow dunes and stuff like that, and some trees here and there. But that is the only thing that like stands above like the line of the ground. And so you guys start making your way towards that, and as you approach, you can start to see where the formation of a surprisingly large cave mouth is in effect. And how do you want to approach the cave?
Val just wants to throw one fish in the cave and see if it does anything.
Well, at this point, you're probably like 40 yards away from it.
Okay.
So.
I say maybe approach it like coming at an angle so we're not like just
dead on
walking down the barrel of that cave.
And Jazara will say, that's probably a good idea. We could maybe approach it a bit from the left and come up along the side, and we can listen in to it first before we decide to do anything as we go. Yay! There we go.
Oh, look at that.
And it's like fairly into like the rocks itself. But you can look at it, and you guys start to maneuver your way a little bit through the trees that are around the side, so you can approach it to the left. And you guys will start to move around to the side, so you can listen in. Does that sound like a plan?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right. So Jazara will approach the front. Who's going to be behind Jazara?
Me.
You. Okay. Put you back a little there, and then Asha probably right about there. And so you guys kind of like approach, and all of you do a perception check.
16.
16, and Jazara gets a 13. Nobody hears anything. Like, it's pretty quiet. You can hear like the faint little dripping of like cave water falling and stuff like that. And you know there's supposed to be like pools of water in there, but that's the most that you hear. You don't really hear anything else going on. So all of you, for the record, just as we go into this cave, have dark vision. Obviously, you lived in the Underdark. You can see very well in the dark. Everything is in grayscale when you're in complete darkness, but you can all see very, very well. I think Ash is the one who has just like stupid amount of dark vision. It's like 300 feet. Yeah, you have dark vision to 300 feet. Jazz has it to, I believe, 90 feet, and Val, you have it to 60 feet. So, you guys, Jazara's gonna like slip forward, and she's gonna like peek in, and I'll roll another perception check for her. And it's not very high, but as she's looking in, like she doesn't see anything. It's just rock by the looks of it, and like kind of like an entrance way as you go into it. And she'll lean back, and she's like, "You guys ready for this?"
I pull out my dagger.
I pull out my fish.
You pull out your fish. I pull out my dagger. I pull out my fish. Okay. I'm gonna write that one down.
That's the tagline for the episode.
Absolutely.
My fish.
Holy Lord. Okay.
I am unsurprised. She's ready to feed the froggies.
Honestly, both Jazara and Misty are unsurprised. Am now currently worried about if we get into any kind of actual like adventure type situation in the future. I'm cataloging these responses of what Ani does so that I am aware of the things I will have to compensate for should at some point any kind of wild adventure-y things happen to us in the future. We will be going to Forks at some point, and I feel like at some point if we encounter a bear or a moose or something, you're gonna have the wrong response to it.
I'm 100% gonna have the
wrong worried
response.
look on Erin's face tells me it occurs to her too, okay?
Yeah, any animal she's going to approach.
That's fine.
10 will die petting something I should not.
Yeah, and like I'm aware of that. It doesn't make me less worried now. So here we go. So you guys start to like slip into the cave and everything. It's very dark. There's a little bit of light coming through from the entrance and everything. You walk probably about 20 feet into the cave at this point, and it's starting to get darker. Obviously, it doesn't really bother you guys that much because you do still have dark vision. As you step into it, you do start to hear like more and more drops of water as you go, and you eventually get to the edge of what is a pool of water. It's fairly large, certainly large enough that you know you can't jump across it, and I believe it is 20 feet across. Yeah, so it's 20 feet across from one end to the other, the end that you're standing on, to where you can see where the little pond ends on the other side. And on the other side, go ahead and give me perception checks, everyone.
11.
17.
17. You guys see on the other side, kind of like propped against a wall, it like laying lengthwise is a very large but sturdy looking board. And you think, judging by how long it is, the people of this cave might put it across the pond in order to walk across without getting into the water. So like there's likely somebody who's always in the cave that distributes the board back and forth.
Okay.
So Jazara will kind of like look at the water and she's like this, and like she doesn't touch the water, but she puts her hand like above the surface. She's like, if we get into this water, it's gonna be fucking freezing. We'll be really lucky if we do. Between the weather outside and this water, we're really lucky if we don't get sick. We need to figure out how to get at least one of us on the other side of that, and without getting in this water.
Man, I wish I could fly.
Couldn't she use her
My mage hand?
Yeah, to pick it up and put it down?
How heavy is the board? I can only pick up 5 pounds.
Yeah. Jazara's kind of examined the wall for a second, and she gets 17 for her survival check as she examines the wall. She's like, I think I could climb across this wall. Like, I could climb over using the wall. If this is, like, the frogs are supposed to live in these ponds. So if I'm quiet enough, I think I could get probably to the other side without, hopefully without waking any of them, but I could give it a shot.
I've got 6 fish to distract them with, so we've got 6 tries.
Alright, well, if you don't throw any in yet, because until we see one. Because if it sees me, then you can distract. Yeah, if you see one, distract it. But if you don't, if I can do it quiet enough to get across, then that would can save the fish, and I can shove the board over to you guys. The board might make enough noise that we might see some at that point, but hopefully I can get across without making any noise.
Go scale that wall, spider monkey.
Oh, and that's 2.
She kind of looks at you and she says, look, I know when we were kids we all saw the puppet play Twilight, but it was bad then, girl. Like, it doesn't need to. We're in a life-threatening situation. Don't make me want to jump in the pool with all the frogs.
Gotta lighten it up somehow. Damn.
And right before she goes to climb on the wall, she leans into Valkyria and says, "This is the skin of a killer, Valkyria."
Val is trying not to snort in laughter and wake up the toads.
Yeah. So she's going to quietly try to climb across. She gets a 17 on her stealth, which I will roll for the perceptiveness of toads.
That sounds like a book title, doesn't it? The
Perceptiveness of toads, yeah. The toads only get an 11. But she's gonna quietly make her way across, and she has to do a strength check to do it without falling in. And she's very careful. She does it very as slowly as possible. There's an instance in which like her foot starts to slip and she has to hold on like really tight, and it's very cold and very slippery, so she goes very slowly across, and she'll have to do another one. 17 for that one. So she does like very carefully and very stealthily like make it across, and she eventually like pops down to the other side. The thing is when she pops to the other side, and the further away she gets, the harder she is to see, even though you guys have dark vision. But as she gets like engulfed and like there's no light, she vanishes. You cannot see her at all.
Asha, I can't see her.
She's hanging in there. Hold on. There's no giant splash yet.
And you hear like some shuffling and then a scraping sound. I'll roll for her to see how quiet she is. It's another 17. She's as quietly as possible starting to push the board like across the water. And Val, as it gets closer, you can like use your mage hand to keep it from like dipping into the water too much. You can't pull it really,
right?
but you can use it as leverage.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's gonna do a strength check to make sure she can push the damn thing all the way over. Yeah, it's a natural 20. She shoves that thing and it just slides. It slides right across. And now you have about this 2-foot wide board, and it's about 20 feet long, across the water. And now you have to cross it.
Okay, she's not dead.
She's not dead. There she is.
And you still can't see her.
Asha, you want to go first into the darkest pit?
Sure. Can I crawl? How wide is the board?
2 feet.
Okay, we're going slow. Do not push me.
Okay. You guys gonna do it one at a time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, maybe she should be kind of close to me just because she can't see as far into the.
Okay, I won't be too far behind you.
Yeah, she can still see 60 feet. So technically, and you can see 300 feet. Technically, you should both be able to see Jazara on the other side of that lake, and you cannot.
Okay.
So you can see the other side of the lake. You can't see Jazara.
That's great.
We're going slow. Ready? And
shuffle.
Yep.
So you're going at the same time?
She's a little bit behind me.
How far apart do you guys want to be?
5 feet.
Yeah.
5 feet? Okay. I'm gonna do a perception check for the toads that are in there.
The toads.
And both of you roll me stealth check.
10.
15.
Okay. As you're shuffling it along, you probably make it about 5 feet, and then you hear a little bubbling noise, and then you see the top of one of the frogs kind of like pokes out of the water and is looking at you.
Asha, don't move. Stop.
I have stopped.
It's fish time.
Okay. You're gonna toss one of the
fish?
Yeah.
Okay. Here, little ice toads.
I'm gonna have
fishies.
You roll me an animal handling check with advantage. So roll 2 d20s and take the higher one.
17.
17? Okay. You toss the fish to it, and before that fish hits the water, that tongue comes right out, catches that fish, it goes in its mouth, and it looks at you, and then it slowly sinks back under the water.
Happy feeding. Asha, go.
And you guys shuffle. And make me one more stealth check.
6.
13.
Another frog does like raise itself up, and this time it kind of like bumps against the wooden thing as it gets pretty close to you, probably about 3 or 4 feet from you.
Hold your horses, Ice Toad. I have more fish. Hang on.
You throw another fish?
Yep.
All right. Animal handling with advantage.
14.
14. It sticks its tongue out to catch it, and it doesn't go back down like it eats, but it continues to watch you as you guys are standing there. You can continue to move on in if you'd like, but it's gonna. It's probably about 4 feet away from you in the water, and it's watching you.
Well, I'll have Asha continue moving forward. Do we know if the ice toads are attracted to sound?
You would assume that sound is what woke them up as you guys were shuffling along.
I probably shouldn't, but I'm gonna try.
And whatever she's about to do, I'm gonna start speeding away as quietly as I can.
Okay.
I'm gonna start shuffling.
I hear her brain turning.
I'm gonna start shuffling towards Asha, like in the direction of like the other side of the pond.
Okay.
And
I will say at this point, Val is at is about the halfway point, so it's about 10 feet. And Asha, you're about 5 feet away from the other end where Jazara went.
All right, so I got one hand holding a fish.
Okay.
Third one, and I got my tail swishing to make the clattering of the teeth bracelet.
Okay.
Just to see which one it's gonna go for, and as I'm just eye contact with the fish in one hand as I shuffle across.
It sinks under the water and then comes back up directly in front of your board, and it's just staring directly at you.
You want the fishy?
As I clear the board.
it fish time? Okay, well, here's the third one. Don't eat me.
And you give it the fish.
I
And
just give it.
the fish. That tongue comes so you will barely have dropped that fish, and that tongue comes out, and it kind of like graces against your hand, and before it snatches the fish. So roll me another animal handling check with advantage.
5.
It has not moved, and it will bump the board. And I want you to do an acrobatics check, not to fall in the water.
6.
All right. Ashley, you're about 5 feet away from the end, and all of this is going on behind you. And you're starting to crawl as fast as possible, and the board jerks. And before you can even think about maybe falling in the water, hands that you can't see grab you and yank you forward off the board.
Whoa!
And you hear a shh. Be quiet. And you recognize Jazara's voice. You just don't see her.
Jazz? What the fuck?
Yeah?
What the fuck?
What? Yeah, what?
Something grabbed me.
It's me. And you can hear her right next to you, but you do not see her.
Where you? Where are you?
Oh, shit, hang on. And you see this shimmer of purple magic, and she comes back in. She's like, sorry. It's just a magic thing. And
Don't do invisible magic in the dark. I can't see it when you do invisible magic.
I can't help it. It just happens. It's just one of the things they taught me how to do in my family. And for mechanical standpoint,
bickering and help me with this ice toad.
Give it a second. As a mechanical standpoint, Jazara is a Gloomstalker Ranger, and when Gloomstalker Rangers are in complete darkness, they are invisible to creatures with dark vision.
Okay.
So I am mechanically making it so that she can make herself visible to specific creatures, as in the two of you.
Okay.
And also if she goes unconscious, she becomes visible to everyone. Well, let me restate that. When she's unconscious, as in she drops to 0 hit points, not when she sleeps. She can be visible to the two of you at will. It doesn't specify any of that, but it would be really annoying with the amount of time you guys spend in the dark, and especially being from the Underdark, if she was just literally invisible to everyone all the time. Because literally no one in the city would be able to see her. So that doesn't make any fucking sense. So, but to everyone else who has dark vision and is in the dark, they cannot see her. So even if you guys encounter people who can see in the dark, like an elf or something in the future, or in this cave, they will not see her. They will see you. So, which will also be terrifying when the darkness just starts shooting arrows at them. But you guys you, Asha and Jazara are standing there. You can see Jazara once again. She's still invisible to other people besides you and Val in the darkness. But it is about that point that you hear a splash as Valkyria goes tail first into the water. And
we're gonna have to get her, aren't we?
And I'm
Cold! Toads! Get me out of the cold!
And Jazara's going to say,
Is
shush!
it cold or toad?
Shut
I
up.
don't know.
Jazara's going to loudly whisper shout, shut up! You're going to attract more attention, damn it! Then swim, damn it! And I will say...
I've never heard swimming like that.
Val, you're going to have to make me a Constitution saving throw.
So, what's the saving throw again?
Constitution.
Okay. Natural 20 plus 2.
Natural 20, okay. Look, you're cold. You're real fucking cold. However, it's in this submerged, coldness you feel inside of you. It's not often that your tiefling nature, starts to come into play. But your crystal around your neck starts to glow, and you feel the magic of your shadow magic inside of you start to glow. And all of a sudden, as cold as that was before, you feel like the icy tundra that exists in you from your magic just kind of spread out over you, and then you're just not cold. Your magic kind of like pulses through your body and warms you from the inside, and the cold no longer seems to bother you for this minute as you make your way to the edge. And
at this point, you stop hearing me flail and scream, and I'm guessing you're a little worried.
A little, and like Jazara is gonna go to the edge, and once she sees you, she's gonna like help pull you out of the water. And she's like, "Are you all right?" It's like, "Shit, you've got to be fucking freezing."
Surprisingly, I feel pretty good, but I do not have plans on diving today.
Let's not have any other ones either. Like, jeez. And she's going to look at Asha. And she says, "Asha, you have the sacred flame cantrip, right? Can you like produce flame and help dry her off?"
Sure, let's do that.
So you summon some fire into your hands, kind of like move your hands around her, and it's just like a very fast working hair dryer. And it kind of warms you up and dries you off. You're not like completely dry. You're not like completely dry, but like your outer layers have for the most part dried off. It takes you guys like a couple minutes of doing that, and while you're doing that, Jazara has like shuffled you guys down and like to the cave so she can keep an eye on both sides of the cave for you. And the perception checks that I did roll because of the noise you made were garbage with a 9 and a 13, so y'all are fine. But Jazara says, "Are you good? You all right, Val?"
I'm good. I was cold. I'm fine. Just a little wet.
As long as you're all right.
Kind of annoyed. I thought the fish were supposed to make him happy.
I mean, to be fair, they didn't really attack you, so seems to have done something. You still have the other 3 fish?
Yes.
And you do. They're still there.
She's keeping them
in her boobs. Yeah, she's keeping them by her boobs. Yeah. I don't know what to do with that information, but yeah, specifically it looks like around like her bra strap area, and I don't know what to do with that information, and I don't think I want to.
Wouldn't it smell?
Oh,
Wouldn't
absolutely.
It smell? Oh,
you've got a very distinct fishy smell coming from you now, Val. But you are mostly dry now, not entirely, but mostly dry. You had to take your shoes off and like dry your socks off so you don't get frostbite on your toes. And you don't freeze your tail off too. But you are now met as you're standing there and you're looking at 2 separate paths into the cave. One of which is a more narrow but pretty straightforward looking pathway, and the other one, if you would like to look at it, please give me a perception check to look down.
7.
You don't really hear anything, but as you do step forward to like listen, there's a lot of bat feces all over the floor that you do step in a little, and it's gross. And you realize this is probably the direction of where the bats are. And
I don't need guano.
Yeah,
because I work in the healing with the healers. I know that bat guano can be kind of toxic, so I'm going to recommend everybody take out a little bit of fabric, whatever you got, put it over your mouth. Don't breathe it.
Okay, and like Jazz will do that.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
this tunnel over here on the map with the terrain on the ground, that's the batty area, and then the smoother looking one is the tunnel that goes south.
Yeah, let's not go in the batty tunnel.
So you guys are going to continue to move south?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, and you move south, and as you do, you're very careful not to make too much noise and everything like that. And I want everybody to give me a stealth check as you come across this new area.
13.
13.
14.
Okay. 13, 14, and a grand old 6. Okay. So Jazara doesn't do very well. It is a group check, though, and you guys do pass. And as you approach, you can faintly hear 3 people talking with one another, a dwarf and 2 elves, and they have this giant ice frog, and you can watch them, and they're feeding it and trying to give it commands as if to teach it. Kind of like training a dog, and they're throwing like what you can see is not fish but bats, and they're throwing bats at it to try and teach it to do stuff for it. And they're all wearing very similar clothes as to the people that you saw in Pelks and everything like that, and they're just focused on just training this frog. And Jazara says, we can probably, if we're very quick about it, we can surprise them. You guys want to attack, or
why?
Because if they see us, they'll probably attack us first.
Should we try caution first, or what do we want to do?
Want to talk to them first?
Howdy, stranger. No.
We shouldn't do what I was just thinking of doing.
What were you thinking of doing?
Just Valkyria's already had enough because she's been dumped in the ice cold water, so she just wants to go in screaming with her staff held high and just scare them away.
Let's not do that, because if there's more, they'll come running, and we're already outnumbered if you include the frog. So.
And I only have 3 fish.
Exactly. So, how do you guys want to do this?
Fine, I'll be quiet.
Yeah, we could try and squeak past them.
It does, once you leave like this tunnel space, it opens up quite a bit. It's a pretty open space. It's probably about 40 feet deep and maybe about 15 feet wide at the widest point. There's a sunken in another puddle area, like a large puddle area, but you think that's where that ice frog is from. And there's like a bucket next to one of the elves, and it's full of, like, you can tell there's bats in it. And the dwarf is over there just throwing bats to it, trying to give it commands, while the 2 elves are just more or less not interested in what's going on. There's a couple of like stalagmite and stalactite pillars that are coming up out of the ground and out of the ceiling and stuff like that. Not enough to really give you cover if you wanted to try and sneak past them. But if you could give it a shot if you wanted to, but there's not really much to hide behind if you try it.
Jazz, you want to shoot your arrow at the dwarf's butt?
Maybe a more diplomatic approach.
They won't see her. She can go invisible.
I mean, that's... And Jazara will look at you and she's like, that is fair. If it's just me, they can't see me because of my abilities. Do you want me to try and go in further and maybe get off some shots? And see what happens?
Say yes. I say try that, because I wonder if I can use Mage Hand and just lift the fish and like try to get the frog's attention away from, like, and lead it towards the elves, you know, to like just go towards them and not do what the dwarf wants it to do.
Okay.
They're very food motivated, I'm guessing.
Okay. Jazara's like, I mean, they won't see me even if I walk right up to them, but because we're in pretty much complete darkness. There's only like one torch kind of like hanging off to the side close to like where the pond is, but it's not enough to illuminate all the space. And you know that elves and dwarves all have dark vision, so like they don't really need any light either. But you think that maybe because the bucket is right there with the bats in it, that maybe they're using it to try and attract the bats. So
how heavy is that bucket of bats?
It's a fairly decent sized bucket. It's a full at the very least. Like the bucket's probably like 1.5 feet, but it is full of like probably 15 bats. So
it's heavier than 5 pounds.
Yeah, it would be heavier than that. Jazar said, I mean, I can risk it, but you just gotta promise that if it goes sideways, you're gonna kick some ass.
Yes.
You wanna do that?
Sure.
I'm in a fighting mood.
Alright. And she's like, no, shush. And Jazara is going to venture on her own into the cave, and she's going to do a little stealthy stealth. And she gets a 15, and I'll do these guys' passive perception because they're not looking for anyone. Yeah, she easily, their passive perception is only 10. So she's going to kind of go over here, position herself between like two areas of like stalactites and stalagmites so she can duck behind them if she needs to. And she's gonna shoot at one. So, and she's gonna be real mad if she dies, just for the record. Yeah.
While you're here, I'm using my mage hand to guide a fish towards the water.
To do that, you will have to guide it. Your mage hand is invisible. The fish isn't.
I know.
It's a flying fish now.
Yes.
You have a floating fish in the air.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I'm guessing because the two elves haven't noticed, because they just don't want to be here.
Yeah.
The toad has noticed.
Well, no, that's not necessarily true.
No?
First of all,
I want the toad to notice.
you need to roll me a stealth check that's going to be better than their passive perception.
Okay. 4.
4? Yeah, okay. The elves noticed the floating fish. But Jazara acts first, and she rolled a 19 to hit. So she's going to hit one of the elves. And she's going to cast Hunter's Mark on one of them. That is one of her spells. And it allows her, when she does damage, to roll an additional d6 dice with it. So she's going to... She hits it with a 19 plus 7. And she does 12 plus... She does 15 points of damage to one of the elves, and that immediately takes that elf down.
Bye, loser.
Now, I want both of you to roll initiative, because if you're going to do things, you gotta roll initiative.
7.
6.
Jenna's got a 25. Jazara gets a shot off just like that. That elf goes right through, like, between the shoulder and, like, the collarbone, and that elf just fucking drops. And now we start at the top of the round, which is, once again, Jazara. So she's going to fire another one, this time at the dwarf. Ooh, just hits, which is good. So she's going to roll another 13. That's 13 points of damage. And she hits that dwarf, and that dwarf is down. And she's going to duck around some of the stalagmites so that, because, like, they could tell where the arrows were coming from because they could see the arrows. But she's going to duck around so she's not in the same spot anymore. And the elf that's here is like, shit. And the frog is starting to get pretty agitated, just for the record. The dwarf bandit is dead. And that makes it the frog's turn. And the frog starts croaking very loudly. And it starts to, like, hop over here. But Val, you had put a fish out. And it also... Let me roll a perception check for the frog.
It's also food motivated.
You do? It does see the fish. So, like, it's kind of like... At this point, your mage hand has, like, made it towards the frog, and it's just kind of like staring at your fish and a little more occupied with that. Like, it knows technically because of its training it needs to go deal with this, but like it's staring at the fish as you hover it in the air over this frog. And the bandit, the elf bandit, is just like go get whoever that is, and we have an intruder, and the frog is just focused on the fish.
Clearly, the elf is the frog's third favorite.
And Ashley, it is now your turn.
Hang on, before Ashley goes, can I slap the fish across the elf's face?
No, it's not your turn yet.
Oh, damn it, okay.
Let's see, what should I do? I'm gonna move forward, first of all. And then,
where do you want to towards?
I guess we should move I'll move towards the elf. With my dagger at the ready.
You want to get closer than this?
Sure. Yes.
Okay. You can get like right up on this frog and this elf if you want.
Okay, that's good. Because I'm a better distance thrower, so
Okay.
I'm gonna wing that dagger into that frog.
Into the frog? Okay. Go ahead
Yes.
and roll me a d20 plus 3 for your dagger attack.
10 total.
10. You missed the frog.
Damn.
Frog has a 12 armor class. But it like Valkyria just happens to like sway the fish like to one side as you're doing this, and the frog kind of like sways with the fish to follow it, and you miss with the dagger.
Val, that is a trained killer frog.
Exactly.
Kill it.
I have a better idea.
No, it's not gonna be a pet.
It's like, well, you never know.
Oh God, we're getting a frog.
They're very large. They're several feet large.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that was you. Now it's the elf's turn, and the elf is going to go try and figure out where the fuck Val is. Well, it does see you. Like the elf is going to kind of stand here where it can still see where you are, but looking for the other intruder, and does not see Valkyria. Or not Valkyria, Jazara. Doesn't see Valkyria either because she's still standing back there. But because can't see, Jazz is going to shoot an arrow at you, Asha. An 18 to hit you, girl. So that hits.
Owie.
For only 5 points of damage, though.
That's not bad.
And then Val, it's your turn.
All right, now I'm going to use my mage hand and slap that guy across the face with the fish.
Okay. Do you want to move closer at all? You don't have to.
No.
Okay.
Can I, after I slap him with the fish, can I try to shove it in his mouth with my mage hand?
You can do one or the other. Slapping it, I'll let you do one. I'll let you do 1d4 damage if you hit. Shoving it in its mouth is going to do literally nothing but shove a fish in its mouth.
Well, I was hoping if I shove the fish in its mouth, the frog will attack him.
You can do an animal handling check to try that if you would like.
Okay, I want to try that.
Okay. Roll me a d20 plus 3, as we've done with your mage hand, to see if you can shove this fish in this elf's mouth first.
10.
10? No.
No.
You smish a dead fish against this elf's face, and you get dead fishy smell and slime scales all over its face. But that is all you achieve.
And he just gives you this look like, really, bitch?
The frog is just staring at this, and it's just still focused on the fish. And Jazara is over there, invisible to the elf, but not to you. And she's just like, what the fuck are you doing? She's not saying anything, but she's waving at you like, what the fuck is happening right now?
And I almost can't stop myself from looking at the elf and, like, apologizing. Like, sorry, she's different.
Yeah. Yep. And the elf is just like, right, rubbing sliminess off their face as you just smish this dead fish all over.
Oh my god.
Anything else on your turn? I don't think you have.
No,
anything
can I
else.
do the animal handling one and see if this frog will go
No,
for his face
you've
now?
already shoved a fish in its on this person's face. Then that was your thing.
Okay.
So, back at the top of the order is Jazara, who's just like looks at Ashton and throws her hands up like, and she has decided to try and put this elf out of its misery.
Can you imagine this is the last thing you see before you die?
God, that would be 13 to hit. So she's going to attack this elf.
Her glasses just got stuck up on her forehead.
Yep. And she does 10 points of damage to this elf, which really fucks up this elf. Between getting slapped in the face with a fish and then getting an arrow directly to the back, this elf looks fucked. This elf looks very unhappy. It is now the frog's turn. Now, Valkyria, if you would like to roll me a pure luck check, so just roll me a straight d20, a 15 or higher, the frog tries to attack the fish elf. 5, yeah, no. It hops closer. I'll give you that. Like, it wants the fish. It's gonna hop a little closer. And that's all that happens. Asha, what would you like to do, dear?
Right now I'm a little whelmed. I don't know if it's overwhelmed, underwhelmed. I'm just whelmed at this point.
That's fair. That's a valid response.
I also desire to put this poor elf out of its misery.
What would you like to do so?
I'm gonna pick up my dagger again, and I'm going to try and help him along.
Okay, so give me a roll, d20 plus 3.
9.
9. Unfortunately, the elf is like wiggling around a bit, like moving around, trying to get this fish out of its face, and your dagger just whizzes right past it. It kind of, and like Jazara kind of like moves aside as your dagger like sticks in the wall on the other side of it. Yeah. Anything else you'd like to do, dear?
Cry.
That's fair. I was gonna say weep, so you know. The bandit is once again going to try and well, you know what? It's gonna make a perception check to see if it sees you, Val. It does not. That's a natural one. So it's just gonna fire at Asha again.
It has some fish goo in his eye. He can't see.
So it does unfortunately hit you once again. It fires an arrow at the only enemy it can see, and that's Asha, for a grand total of 3 points of damage, dear.
Oh, owie. That's gonna suck.
Yep. So you have 3 points of damage going on, and which it just kind of like it cuts like your arm, but it doesn't like stick into you at all. And now that's unfortunately Val's turn. Val?
Can we trust her?
No, we don't. We do not trust her. I'm giving you a turn to do something with, dear. What would you like to do to contribute to the situation? I will say, if you would like to take the fish you've slapped in this elf's face and feed it to the frog, you can try and roll an animal handling check to persuade it. Like, I'll say you could take the fish and like lead it over to the water and try to entice the frog just to get back in the water and mind its own business.
I don't know what I want to do because I want the frog to attack the elf. With the fish.
Girl.
Do you see the look she's giving me?
It's up to you what you do, my girl. But you got 5 seconds to figure it out.
Okay, so I'm gonna take my mage hand and throw another fish at the elf's face just to see if this.
So it's the same fish, just for the record, because you still have the fish. And you're just gonna like fling it.
I'm gonna try to slap him across the face again.
Are you gonna slap it? Okay. Straight d20 plus absolutely nothing. Straight d20. You once again swish fish
Just
in
on the
the
top
elf's
of the
face.
head.
Just kind of like lightly patting the elf's head with a dead fucking fish.
And it slides down.
Yeah, and the elf is just like, what the fuck is happening? There's a creature that's
You know,
shooting
Val,
arrows at
I'm
it, but
starting to root for him. What the hell are you doing?
There's a creature that is shooting arrows at this elf that it cannot see. There is a hand that it cannot see that is slapping it in the face of the fish twice. And both of its companions are instant dead. So, and it is profusely bleeding out, standing at a single fucking hit point, and that's your turn. That's your whole fucking turn. And Jazara's just like, I don't know what to do with this. I'm just gonna shoot something. And Jazara shoots the elf, and 16 plus 7 hits. And this elf has 1 point of damage. She kills this elf and puts this fucking elf out of its misery. And right before she shoots it, she says, I think this is the best thing that can happen to you at this point. And she kills the elf. And quite frankly, that's the best fate that elf could have asked for, because another round for Valkarhe would not have gone well for this elf. And now you're both stuck there with a frog. And Jazara's going to get a little closer to it so that she can shoot it if necessary. But she's going to look at Val and she says, at least try to tempt it back in the water.
Okay.
And it is the frog's turn. And the frog is very interested in this fish that's still hanging around. And is going to try and take the fish from you. I'm going to let this frog try and take that fish from your mage hand. No, it doesn't. That's a thing. It's like shoots its tongue out and like it just slaps into one of the stalagmites on the side. Asha? Now there is a bucket of bats there if you would like to try and tempt this frog with something, or you could just fucking take the fish out of there.
I'm not going to deal with that fish. That fish is disgusting. And clearly bad luck. I'm going to grab the bucket of bats and I am going to go along the cave wall to around the frog. And I'm just going to stand at the water's edge.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to wave the bat to get attention. And then I'm going to start, and then I'm going to throw it in the water. So hopefully it'll follow.
Okay. Roll me an animal handling check with advantage.
18.
18? That frog is so focused. You've just thrown a bunch of food at it. I'm not even going to worry about the rest of the turns. That frog with an 18 is just popping itself right back in the water.
And I throw the whole goddamn bucket after it.
There you go. Yeah. You throw the bucket in and that frog just disappears. And you think it's going to have a really good fucking lunch.
Peace out, bro.
And Jazara is going to walk over to Valkaria. What in the name of the Moonweaver was that? What the fuck was that? You didn't do a damn point of damage. You did nothing. You slapped an elf in the face with a fish. With a goddamn fish. Twice. What the hell was that? Literally the only person that those enemies could have seen was Asha. If I hadn't taken down 2 of them, it would have just been Asha and 3 enemies. And you with a goddamn fish. What the fuck?
Asha is standing, about 20 feet back with the most disapproving look on her face. Arms crossed, hip cocked out to the side. And you can just feel the disappointment radiating across this cavern. With just a gentle shake of her head. No words, just feelings.
Jazara's going to turn around. She's like, and she's going to walk.
That's a no for a grilled fish tonight.
And Jazara doesn't say anything. I'm assuming Asha makes that specific noise. And you guys continue on into the cave. And you do come across an area that has like a little fire lit and stuff like that. I imagine Ash is probably just kind of keeping a little bit of distance between Val. I'm gonna leave that like that. And you've come into this area. It's got a bunch of a surprising number of bedrolls are around it, and there's a lit fire and everything like that. And there's a pathway to both. There's 2 pathways to the north. One of them leads slightly to the left, and you can tell just by where that is, it leads back into the bat area. And then there's a new pathway that leads up to the in a northeasterly direction. And there's all these bedrolls around. There's some supplies laying around and stuff like that. And a fire going. And does Val have anything to say for herself? Out of curiosity?
No.
Okay. Val's 2 companions are much quieter than they were when they entered into this cavern. A little bit of distance, I think, has happened between, like, a physical space between Asha and Valkyria's fish, which I imagine is still in her mage hand as it floats next to her.
Oh
my god! And yeah, thanks to Asha and Jazara, the bandits in the cave have that you guys encountered have been defeated, and a frog has been returned back to the water with a delicious dinner. And Jazara has perhaps discovered a new, or not Jazara, Valkyria has discovered a new sport of fish slapping. And both Jazara and Asha, as they proceed further into the cave, worry that this is going to be a trend in their future. And both have a horrifying moment of realizing that with Mage Hand, it's possible she may just try to slap every enemy they come across with some miscellaneous object.
Or she might just keep those fish. We don't know.
In her bra.
We're going to ask that she sleep separately.
Yeah.
From the rest of us.
You're going to start sleeping on the floor, girl. And with that horrific thought in everyone's mind, horrific to Jazara and Asha, but perhaps in Valkyria's mind, a new interesting idea is percolating as she really just thinks of all of the possibilities of Mage Hand and miscellaneous objects. And we're going to end our session there, I think, on that fishy note.
The great
I have comes to a close. Ever heard someone use Mage Hand to slap a bitch in the face with a fucking dead fish. Never. The lobster trap was one thing, but to slap a bitch, not even slap, you smeared a dead fish over someone's face like a fucking worst exfoliating scrub ever. And you have to live with that knowledge now, and you know what? So do I. I'm going to find a really disturbing, sloppy slap voice to put in there for the fish slaps.
Yes.
And then it has to, like...
make it a little grainy, too, as it, like, screeches over the face.
It's going to be gross. Whatever the noise is that I put in there, it's going to be gross. So...
The great fish debacle.
I'm so glad you don't have wings. I can't even imagine what would happen as fish fall from the sky.
No, she'd probably slap people with her wings.
Attaching fish to the ends of all of them so she can just, like, multi-fish attack.
Fish, throwing, fish, throwing, fish, throwing, fish.
I'm gonna reclassify you. No longer a shadow sorcerer, you're a fish sorcerer.
Fishmonger.
Valkyria Nicor. Fish slapper.
This look is similar to Jurassic Park. I just need to know that. Just the disappointment and ready to go-ness.
That's fair. That's valid. Very valid at this point.
Yeah, but it was funny.
You know what? I'll give you that. That was funny. That was very funny. That was, all right. I will give you that. Good Lord. Good God.
At least our campaign, we can't say that our campaign is not unique.
That's fair. I've never seen somebody slap or exfoliate an enemy with a fish. I've never seen somebody exfoliate an enemy with a fish. That is, that's new. I will give you that. Good God. Okay.
Matt Mercer, this is what we've done with your world. Thank you.
So sorry.
Is Matt Mercer the elf in this scenario?
I'm so sorry. No. No, he's in a tavern somewhere far away, hopefully.
Drinking himself into a stupor so he doesn't have to remember this.
Oh, good God. I'll give you credit. That was hilarious. If not, I am going to do my best to try and kill you guys in the future so that Valkyria has to do something besides slap somebody with an inanimate object. I will definitely do something chaotic.
I'm like, that wasn't chaotic. But
Chaotically
also
violent.
Yeah, okay. But also I'm guessing didn't earn any level up points for Fish Gate.
Fishtopia? Not
Fish
yet.
slap contest.
Fishapalooza?
Fishchella?
Fishella.
No, that was like the Fish Fire Festival. The Fire Fish Festival.
Mackerel
Firefish.
mayhem?
Mackerel mayhem. We got Whoville, the big scary from wherever she's from, and then
Whoville.
Mackerel.
Yeah.
Yeah, that elf is forever going to be known as the mackerel elf, I believe. Yes, you have not leveled up just yet. So
I imagine that went.
Yes, I hate to break it to you, but only slapping people with fish and other inanimate objects doesn't earn you a shit ton of experience points.
That's sad.
It earned you a shit ton of humor points, though, so there is that.
I'll take it.
There you go. So, yeah, the your next level up isn't actually that far off, so but
Cool.
just not quite yet. Not quite yet. So, this episode was a lot different than the last one, where this one was very heavily combat based, whereas the last one was very narrative based. And you guys have any kind of questions or inquiries regarding anything that happened?
Nope.
Why?
I can't answer
Why?
that.
Why?
Why not?
Well,
Yeah, that's exactly the answer.
My whole point of doing this was I was hoping that the toad would go towards the elf and chomp on him. And I made him smell like fish twice.
Before he died.
The elf is one of the people who are training it, and it's aware of its handlers. It's not going to just attack them willy-nilly.
But maybe if it smells like fish.
If you would have managed to shove that fish in its mouth, I would have given you the opportunity to do an animal handling check to get it to attack. But it is aware of this elf, and it had known this elf and was working with this elf. So I wasn't going to let you just do it willy-nilly.
Oh.
Can't wait to tell Hayden about this.
That'll be something.
Mm-hmm.
Hayden, are you sure you want to join this
yeah,
campaign
right.
where we slap people
this
across
fish slapping escapade? There will be no fish in the Christmas special.
Yeah.
There will be other things.
I will find something to use my mage hand.
Oh, I'm aware because I'm the one who put the things in there, and I'm aware of exactly what you're going to use to do it, and I'm already worried, so I have regrets of things that haven't even happened yet. So there's that.
Well, since we don't know what's happening, you could still change it.
Oh, no. I'm going to leave it, because at the very least, it'll be entertaining. So
I'm excited.
Yes, me too. And that is when we will pick up on this wily little escapade of fish slapping, frog napping extraordinaire.
Give me more things to use my mage hand and slap people with.
Oh, I'm going to have to invent some things to go along with that mage hand. So, because it will be interesting in the future. So, but yeah, thank you all so very much for coming on this wild journey with us as we delve further into the campaign. Thank you both so very much for playing, and having at the very least, a lot of fun.
Have a fishy rest of the week.
Oh, God.
I'm gonna. Then on our next session, we're going to teach you what happens when you have to make a new character because the DM killed your character off by having it eaten by a giant tuna.
Thought you said no more fish.
I'm gonna make a fish that fights you. Yeah, I'm gonna have a fish eat you.
Aww.
Monstro.
For the record,
Why?
I still have penguin person as a sticky note right here, as a sticky note, and evil fish. Right
Look, she's still writing more.
She's adding secret details, but you'll find out about later.
Pretty much. So that'll be fun. The really fun thing is a lot of the like really chaotic shit that I've made for the campaign you all haven't even encountered yet. So,
and you think this is chaotic?
Yeah, I did write a very long list. That list that I told you guys about that like I showed to my mom, and she's just like, "Wow, you guys haven't even gotten to that yet. Like you guys have not even taken part in that yet." So, you guys have an interesting future ahead of you. So,
I'm ready.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. But yeah, you guys just let me know if you have any questions about anything, especially once you guys like re-listen to the episode, or go over your notes or whatever. But yeah, I think that's about it.
Alrighty.
Oh god, this was chaotic as fuck, and I love it. Oh.
Fishy, why are you sleeping?
And on that note,
good night, everyone.
Happy fishing.
Ani, if I never hear from you again after this moment, I will know it's because as soon as we are done with this, Aaron kills you and buries you in your own backyard. Don't say anything while we're recording, Aaron. It's plausible deniability on everything. So. Yep.
I mean, if she kills me and you don't hear from me, that means you won't be hearing from her because my mom will have killed her.
This is true.
That's fair.
And I think your mom could come up with more creative, horrible ways to kill me.
Her favorite thing to say
right behind me? Oh my god.
No, she's behind the glass. But no, her favorite thing is that she can drown you in a teaspoon of water.
Yes. I believe that. I fully believe that.
All right, ladies.
Good night.
Peace out, Girl Scouts.
Dungeon Master. Love you.
Mwah. Bye.
Bye.
Hey everyone, as always, just a little disclaimer here at the end. The Sorry Not Sorry Generation is not affiliated with Matt Mercer, Critical Role, Wizards of the Coast, or any of the other official D&D things. We're just playing around in their world. The music for this episode can be found on Tabletop Audio or on a serendipitous setting on YouTube. Alrighty. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Tune in next week for more fuckery because we have some serious questions and concerns. It's fish time.